Beyond the Waves is a Hail Hail Media production. It may not be appropriate for underage Tims. There's going to be sweary words. There's going to be adult situations being discussed. If you're in the company of underage Tims, turn up the show now and listen back later. If you're in the company of jelly and ice cream, serve it up, because we're having a good time. Hail Hail, and keep the faith.
Someday soon you're gonna catch that dream you've been chasing. Someday soon they're gonna write your name in the sky. Someday soon you're gonna catch that dream you've been chasing. Yeah. Someday soon they're gonna write your name in the sky.
Captain! Captain! Land ahoy!
Listen, do you want to chat about Celtic after the game and avoid the usual Scottish hacks? Then tune into the Beyond the Waves Celtic show on the Hail Hail Media channel. I'm telling you, Graham, the Rev, the coach, they're there after every game to take your calls and talk you down from the ledge if need be. The guys are live after every single match, and you can catch them www.spreaker.com and then just search for Hail Hail Media. So if you'd like some Celtic discussion that'll make you feel a bit Yankee Doodle Dandy, tune into Beyond the Waves radio show. Yankee Doodle.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Welcome to the Beyond the Waves Celtic Football Show. My name is Graham Wilson, and today we have a very special show for you. It's the Wee Oscar Telethon. Now, we have some feedback. Somebody's speaker is way up. Here, let's do some testing. Oh my God, that's awful. All right, let's do process of elimination here. Callum is now gone. Oh, it was Callum. I knew it. It was that pocket square. It was. Callum is tweeting all sorts of pictures of himself. He's looking quite dashing in the suit, and he's got the pocket square out there. I think that's affecting our audio. We'll try and get him back here in a minute. But Wee Oscar Telethon is going to be absolutely phenomenal. No football this weekend, no action to speak of. So just an idea that I've had for some time in supporting the Wee Oscar appeal. And I wanted to put it in place since we don't have any action to speak of, even though we actually do. So here's how it's going to wind up. Here's the ground rules. First off, for everyone who calls in, and just give me about 5 minutes to get set up before we start calling in, and I will have a signal for when to start calling. The signal will be... Where is it? Okay, so when you hear that, you can start calling in. But let me set it up first. So for everyone who calls in today, if you donate a tenner, I'll donate a $5. So it's sort of David Murray in reverse, where we're going to do something charitable. We're going to give back. For every tenner you donate, we will match that with a $5. Now, don't ask, for like a website where you can donate to. We're not going to be collecting the donations ourselves. You can visit oscarknox.blogspot.com, and we'll be tweeting that link throughout the hour. So visit that website. There's a donate button. Click on that. They have the wristbands. Get yourself a wristband. Go ahead and donate. And somebody needs to get some WD-40 on that door.
Sorry, that's me.
Well, let's introduce everybody who's with us today. First off, as always, from Perth Amboy, New Jersey, it is the Rev. Hail, hail, Rev.
Hail, hail. Good morning, good morning.
The Rev just woke up, so he will be giving us a nice, lovely, warm sing-song here very shortly. But we're always pleased to have you with us. Now, also joining us all the way from the Balcony of Freedom, the friendly confines of Melbourne, it is Pre Fontaine of the Rebel Podcast. Hail, hail, Pre. What's
Hello, boys.
what's the scene down there in Melbourne just now? Hello, did we lose you?
No, I'm here.
What's the scene down there? Give us a sense for what's going on. It's 10 a.m. here. It's what is it, midnight there?
It's midnight here. I'm not actually on the Balcony of Freedom. The Balcony of Freedom is some distance from where I am. I'm in a sort of a northern inner suburb. I've had some beers with my friends. We've watched the Wallabies, our national rugby team, beat South Africa, which is always a good thing, because it's like the triumph of good over evil. And it was 12 o'clock, and I thought, hey, it's time to call into the Beyond the Waves and lend my support to this fantastic charity that you guys are organising tonight.
Fantastic stuff. You get tore into the Springboks, and now we're going to do something giving back, and we're hoping to have some fun with it as well. Maybe get some new people calling into the show who maybe in the past had been a bit hesitant to call in, maybe a bit nervous. Trust me, if I can do it, if the Rev can do it, if we can figure out the technology, you can do it too. So how we're going to do this, and I believe we got Callum back from
Hello.
Hello. Exactly right. Go ahead.
I'm back.
I love the way Callum says exactly right. I'm like addicted to saying that now. I'm looking for people that I agree with, so I can just say that exactly right. Hey, you seem like a like-minded person. Let's have a conversation. Exactly right.
Exactly right.
Fantastic stuff.
Maybe we should rename the Rebel Podcast Exactly Right Podcast or something. Shut up, everyone. Callum respects your elders.
Fantastic stuff. Well, thanks for joining us. So how this is going to work, obviously we're trying to get as many people to call in as possible. Now let's try and keep every snippet short because, we want to get the most amount of people calling in as possible. So we don't want to get, sort of dragged down into long conversations. No offense or anything like that, but call in, make a quick point, give a shout out, give some sort of thought. If you don't have any thoughts, I'll ask you a question. No problem. But just call in, make the donation. It's 10 quid. It's going towards a fantastic outlet. It's Wee Oscar. Wee Oscar is suffering from neuroblastoma. Now, for listeners that have been with us over the past year, you were with us when we were trying to raise awareness as well as money for the Vanessa Riddle campaign. And that's obviously progressed. They met their goal, which is absolutely phenomenal. We want to do the same for Wee Oscar. He's in stage 4 neuroblastoma, which is quite serious. The treatment that he needs is not available, similar to the situation with Vanessa. It's not available in the UK just now. He needs to travel abroad. There's all sorts of fees and medical bills and travel expenses that are undertaken to try and do that. So we want to help and raise awareness. Please just make a donation, 10 quid, whatever. I mean, give up sweets for the month, give up, drink 2 less beers tonight, and make a donation that can really count. So hopefully what we're trying to do is get as many people calling in, as many donations. We'll match with a $5 for every call and, have some fun with it. And then, maybe we'll even extend this throughout the fall. For every time we get callers in for the shows going forward, if you mention that you're donating a tenner to the Oscar Knox appeal, we'll match it with a $5 going forward. So fantastic. So like I said, we're going to open up the phone lines here. We got Pre and Donner67 with us from the Rebel Podcast. First off, guys, fantastic stuff yesterday morning. Or it was yesterday morning for us. It was in the evening for you. The homeboys down under. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. Is that something maybe we can expect on a fortnightly basis, maybe on a sort of a regular tilt?
It certainly sounds like it went very well, and we got a great response from teams in Australia and as well as sort of beyond Australasia. And I think we're going to do another show in probably a fortnight's time. And we really enjoyed the whole experience. We're talking to the Harper and Paul and the boys in the Northern Hemisphere, and yeah, absolutely. We're going to sort of keep doing the homeboys in Australia. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, no question about it.
Time.
Go ahead.
But I just want to say that that Prefontaine was very, very nervous beforehand. A little bit apprehensive going on live podcasting, whereas Don67 was quite cool, calm and collected. And Prefontaine was a little bit shitting himself, if I have to be blunt.
Well, at least you're modest about it, and that's to be respected and applauded. But, honestly, if nobody's going to pat you on the back, you might as well do it yourself.
Just quiet, Graham. How'd you do tonight?
Fantastic. All right, well, listen, let's get down to it. No flim-flamming or anything like that. Let's open up the phone lines. If you're sitting by the sidelines, let's do rapid-fire calls, one after another. Make your point. If we have to hang up on you, it's nothing personal, and we'll catch up another time. But are you ready? Rev, are you there?
Of course.
Rev, wake up. Rev, listen, can you keep track of all of the callers? Because, we need to total this up, and then at the end of the show, we'll give a tally of the total that we are going to donate. And can you do that? Just add up the number of callers, and we'll do the math.
I can do that. I can be your trusty right-hand man.
Fantastic stuff. He's going to keep score. Are you ready?
We're going to owe $300.
You know what? It would be fantastic. All right, let's count it down. 3, 2, 1. The phone lines are open. Okay.
Graham, is it okay for us in terms of those people from Down Under to kick it off by saying that we'll donate $50 to the whole from the Rebel Podcast to this great appeal to start the ball rolling?
Fantastic stuff. We're going to start off with $50 from Down Under. So we're going to kick the ball rolling. Rev, take that down. Put that down on the tick sheet. We'll start off with that. Fantastic.
Is that 50 US or 50 Australian?
It doesn't matter. We'll figure it out later.
No, it's $50. It's 50 New Zealand dollars, so it's probably worth about $4.50 in your money. But it's a start. I think it's important that we get the ball rolling, regardless of how cheap the currency actually is.
No question.
Let's not dwell on how bad the currency conversion is. It's the sentiment that counts.
Exactly. Now, there's going to be situations where multiple people call in at one time. If we can't take your call at one point, don't give up. We'll try and get to your call. First up is Brino. Brino, hail. Thanks so much for calling in.
Hail, Gim. How are you?
Yeah, doing well, pal. Thanks. Good to catch up with you again. What's in your mind?
Graham, I want to know why more of the guys stateside don't call in. All these guys that we see on the videos from the Plough and from the Fado and all Paul Larkin's mates from the Bronx Boys, I want to hear those guys. I want to hear their opinion. So it was a quick call today. I just want to let you know that I put 15 quid into Oscar's support fund.
Rev, put that down.
You got it.
Fantastic stuff, Brino. Really appreciate that. That's great stuff. That's a great question. We'll have to. It's an interesting one because it's not like Americans typically are afraid of microphones or cameras or television, feeds or videos. So we're gonna have to sort that out. That is a good question. Rev, you have any thoughts on that? Brino, thanks for calling.
No worries, guys.
Hail.
Talk to you later.
Cheers. I would say probably maybe a big reason is the time difference. I mean, we're doing this at, 11, 12 o'clock our time. People are usually doing stuff. Maybe they're still at the pub, something along those lines.
That's true. That's a good point. They're especially the Cleveland boys. I mean, they start off in the morning and they stay in the pub all day, which is fantastic. The phone lines are back open. We got Simi calling in. Let's get him. Simi, hail.
Hail, man. How you doing?
Yeah, doing great. Thanks so much for calling in. What's on your mind?
I'd just like to, give a shout out to all the people that I met at Paul's book launch last Saturday. It was a tremendous night. The Parrot and Paul and Susie and basically everybody. And I've got a tenner Oscars fund. So.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Simi.
No problem.
We really appreciate you calling in, and we really appreciate your support. Heard so many great things about Paul's book launch. I'm trying to sort out maybe coming over for the next one, so I got to get in touch with Paul, and maybe we can coordinate that. But thanks for calling in. We got a tenner from you. Rev, put that down.
Got it.
We got it.
Right. Bye, boys. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail, Simi. Thanks for calling.
Cheers.
All right. So the phone lines are open. Did we lose Pre? We might have lost Pre.
Pre's lost, but I'm still here.
Oh, well,
so good.
Well, exactly right. Now joining us is Davey from the Over and Over Show. Hello, Davey. Thanks for calling in, pal.
All right, boys. How's it going?
Yeah, not bad. What's the latest?
Well, not a lot. I just think it's a great thing you're doing. I donated £10 yesterday after I read about it on the Green Brigade forum.
Rev, put it down.
I did have 2 quick points, mate. It's recently turned into 3 quick points. Is that all right?
Yeah, no problem at all. Go ahead.
Simi, you're dafty. You never mentioned me. Met you at the book launch. Also, Graham, I met the Parrot.
Oh, yeah.
And all the times that you and Harper and that spoke about him, I thought it was an urban myth, but he exists.
And he drinks Mellowbirds.
We had a talk about that. My second point, on Tuesday, whenever it was, you were on the Homeboys.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I had been on earlier that evening, so I didn't want to phone back in. But if Harper's listening, I was going to phone back in because at least as a federal holiday, Labour Day in America was basically a sop to the workers after the American troops had killed workers in a rail strike. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly right.
My final point is on the football one, just for MD of interest, will be for different ages. My 3, in my lifetime, I'm 41, so I started going to Celtic games when I was 11. The 3 most naturally talented players I've seen in my lifetime are Paddy, Lubo, and Jakinovsky. There you go, mate.
Cheers, pal. Thanks so much for calling in and donating, and we really appreciate it. Hope to speak to you soon. All the best to Halsey.
Bye.
Yep, cheers. Davey's getting in touch. So what's that now, Rev? I can't even keep track.
We are at, if we're just going by the numbers, we've got 100. No, yeah, 75. Sorry, 75.
Wait, what kind? How many callers have we had so far?
4.
Okay, so 4. So where are you getting 75?
50, 15.
Oh
10,
yeah. Good call. Okay, I'm having a hard time keeping up. See, that's why it's good to have you here. Thank you, Rev. Now we're joined.
I just can't add math right now.
No. I can't add. You're the man that's on top of it. So good thing for that. We're joined now by Paul Lee. Paul, hail. Thanks so much for calling in. What's on your mind?
How you doing, boys?
Yeah, doing all right.
This is to the 60s here for the chat room.
Oh yeah, thanks so much for calling in, pal. We really appreciate you, getting in touch and supporting the cause here. Are you making a donation?
Yes, I just want to reiterate what Sammy said earlier. Brilliant night last week. Good to see everybody. And I'll stick a tenner in the pot as well.
Rev, put it down.
How much? 10?
10.
Aye.
Paul, thanks so much. Let me ask you, what's your take on internationals generally? I mean, we had Sammy pick up a dislocated elbow. I think he had a few split ends. He might have a hand injury. He might be out for several weeks now. That's going to be that's going to be a throwback here, as well as I'm not sure in terms of exactly what happened to Adam Matthews. I think he picked up a bit of a knock. What's your take on internationals? I mean, do you pay attention at all? Are you sort of spiteful towards them? I just don't have any time for them. What do you think?
I'm the same. I've got no interest in them whatsoever. I mean, I can understand the players' point of view. They obviously want to go and play for their international teams. you can't deny them that. But for me, I've got no interest. I mean, I've got the telly on. I'm in the kitchen here. The telly's on in the living room, but I've not got an interest in it.
Yeah, no question. You know, I mean, especially with, you know, Gaffney put out a tweet just now where, you know, Kenny Miller's starting as the lone striker when you have Johnny Russell, you know, Jordan Rhodes, I mean, even Tony Watt. I mean, there's a whole host of strikers in the Scotland setup just now that are you know, easily should get a shout before him. I mean, it's, you know, I don't think Levine has any sort of clue, and it's a shame, you know, because there is young talent coming through the Scotland setup just now, and I think that once they do change the manager, and it's probably going to happen sooner rather than later, fingers crossed, but I think they do have the makings of a dynamic side. So you know, it'd be interesting to keep an eye on it.
Oh, I'd prefer Celtic players just played for Celtic, to be honest. But that's just me. I'm a bit controversial that way.
I agree. Listen, no controversy here.
Hope you have a good day, and hope everything goes well. All the best.
Cheers, Paul. Hope you know, and we hope you call again. You know, as the season progresses.
Will do, mate. I will do.
Yep. Cheers.
Bye.
All right, Paul's getting in touch. So what's that take us up to?
It should be 95 now.
Lovely. I think we lost Callum. The audio was really bad. And here's another thing: if you're going to call in, just make sure that you turn the show all the way down so that we don't get feedback. The show so far has been kind of a disaster from an audio standpoint, but and I'm trying to juggle about 10 different things that I wasn't even expecting. So it's not going to be brilliant in terms of podcasting material. But you know, here's another thing, Rev. I mean, you know, we get so much feedback, especially lately. You know, and comparing us and the Homeboys to like Celtic Underground or even the Lost Boys. You know, where we are not, our two shows are not comparable. I mean, our show and the Homeboys, you know, as well, we're live shows. You know, it's a completely different dynamic. We don't have the benefit of editing and, you know, sound quality and so on and so forth. But nonetheless, joining us now, a man that I've been wanting to catch up with. It's been an action-packed past several weeks since we left him in Philadelphia. It's the Rebel journalist, Phil McGillivon. Phil, how are you?
Hail, guys. How are you all doing?
Yeah, doing fine, thanks. How about yourself? I hear you're keeping busy.
Yeah, well, when I came back from Philly, I had to finish off the book and get all that out, and today it's on sale. So this is for Wee Oscar, because I've been getting asked over the last week, again and again and again, for a signed copy of the book. So I've said no. Just because I don't do that stuff, I don't sign things and post them out and all that. However, what I will do is if you want to put that out to auction, if somebody wants to buy a signed book by donating to Wee Oscar's appeal, yeah,
wow,
I will. They put the message through you, and you get it to me. I will sign that book to them with an inscription of their choice and send it to them free of charge.
Wow, that is phenomenal. Thank you so much, Phil.
To that point, is that signed copies will be rare.
Fantastic.
Because for certain reasons, I don't think we're going to be doing a book signing.
Yeah, logistics might be a slight problem there.
Yeah. I mean, where do you get the Marine Corps at short notice?
Well, I live not too far away from an armory, we'll just say. So if you want to come back, you know, we might have a.
Listen, I would have no problem doing it in the land of the free. You know, where you get your Second Amendment rights. You know, but so loads of people have been asking me for a signed copy, and I've always said no. Right. So if somebody wants to get that signed copy, they can donate to Wee Oscar. So I don't know how logistically you'll be able to do that, but if you want to do like a little sort of an auction, you know, there's only going to be one.
Okay.
It's coming to your show.
Okay.
It's for Wee Oscar, and
Fantastic.
I will send it to them at my expense. How's that?
Phil, why don't we do this, you know, so as to maximize the reach and the exposure for it? Why don't I set up, you know, like an online auction that, you know, we can have a set timeline, maybe make it like the next week, and that way the word can spread. Yeah. Hopefully we can raise as much as we can, or as much as possible for that, and then after a week's time we'll set the deadline, and then we'll sort it that way. Would that...
I take it before you came on here, you had your usual disclaimer about adult situations getting discussed. So on that, although this is for Wee Oscar, putting that to one side for a second, is I've just got a colleague who went in to buy the book in a major bookshop in Edinburgh, and the manager said that he was tearing his hair out because all the chain, all the shops in the chain were calling one another for stock because they were all selling out. And to which the guy said, "This book is currently outselling 50 Shades of Grey in Scotland." So I've become a pornographer.
I was going to say,
my intention.
I was going to say, I'm not going to even comment on the content as I haven't read it yet.
No. But people have a smile on their face when they put it down. So that's. I'm not going to hog the show. It's a quick call. I thought this was appropriate. I'd be happy to donate your £10 and £5 and all that, but I thought this will probably raise more for Wee Oscar.
Fantastic. Phil, I'll be in touch after the show, and we'll get the logistics sorted out with that, and then we'll put that forward. That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Cheers, mate. All the best. Have a great show. Bye-bye now.
Cheers. Hello.
Hey, real quick, I got, just to make it a little more official, if we do that, if we do, say, an eBay, what we can do is we'll do it for 7 days, and we can have it end, pick the time to end during our show next week. So that way, when it ends, we can live on the air, announce the winner for it and how much money will be raised.
That's a great idea. I think that works out perfectly. So that we can get some build up and because I know that is something that you heard it right there. It was from Phil himself, the author of I believe last time I checked it was the number 8 selling book of all books. It was the number 8 bestseller on Amazon. That was a couple of days ago. It might even be higher. So that's incredible. There's going to be one signed copy. We're going to be able to give it away, and so please keep your eyes peeled in terms of specifics for that information. Talk about a collector's item. It doesn't get any rarer than that. So that's phenomenal. We really appreciate that.
Graham.
Davey.
Hi, can I just jump in? I'm just about to nip out. I'll be back later, but. Yeah. As you know, I don't go on Twitter and all that nonsense. So I'll. That's great from Phil. I'll bid 50 quid now to sort of kick things off.
We're starting at 50 quid. Thanks so much, Davey. We really appreciate it.
See you later. I'm just about to nip out.
All the best, pal. We'll talk to you soon.
Cheers, bye.
See that, Rev? We already started at 50 quid.
There you go.
Put that down, Rev. 50 quid. Well, we'll put that to the side, I guess, because we got to keep.
Does Davey do eBay?
I'll get in touch with him. I know how to find Davey. He can't hide from me. I heard loads of reports, from the book launch. Davey's kind of like not a big guy, but not like in a bad way. I heard he's huge. I heard he's like 7 feet tall, and he's like not overweight, but like just a big guy. Halsey's pretty big too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I have a general body attitude, the voice, and, whenever I make it over, I'm looking to meet certain people, he's on the list, and I better not be disappointed.
Yeah, no question.
I don't want, a 120-pound, skinny little kid, playing World of Warcraft. As funny as that would be, no.
Well, we're not going to segue at all into this next caller. Josh Gaffney from CelticTalk.org as well as Paradise Preview. He is the brains and the brawn behind the www.hailhailmedia.com website. Josh, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind, pal?
Hail, it's good to be on the show. I just heard when you're speaking about Davey there, being a really big guy. At the end of the book launch, all the people, on Hail Media gave me a £50 Celtic voucher. We're absolutely delighted, to get that. And I also got the opportunity, to stand up stage and give a wee speech. I wasn't doing that well, but Big Davey gave me some emotional support. He came across, he grabbed me, lifted me up there. Just gave me a big hug.
Oh God, that's phenomenal. So no, Paul takes the microphone and he starts yelling, Josh Gaffney, come up to the stage. Did you not hear him, or were you pissed? What happened there? And then when you finally realized he's talking to you, I mean, what were you terrified? I mean, what was your thought?
I don't know. I think I was in La La Land. and then next thing I'm up on the stage, and Richard's next to me, trying to. Or was it? I can't remember who was next to me now. I don't know if it was Richard or Jason. I keep on getting mixed up between the two of them. I think it's a hair.
Or lack thereof.
But I think it was Jason actually, and I was just nervous giving the speech. It's a bit different from podcasting, from standing up on stage in front of 30, 40 people.
Yeah, working without a net is a completely different entity altogether. Now, what is your name? And when you're in La La Land, obviously your name isn't Josh Gaffney, because when it's called out, you don't respond. So what is your actual name in La La Land then? What do you go by there?
Just Gaffney, I guess.
Just okay. We should just Gaffney. We need to make up like a cool La La Land name for Gaffney. Essentially it would be a nickname, but it would be applicable when Josh is in La La Land, like Zeldar or something. What do you think, Rev? Do you have any ideas? Rev is speechless. He's got
something
nothing.
Like so it's got to be some like whack alien,
Dar, Prince of the Wodax. That's pretty good. All right, we'll come up with something. But Josh, we got a couple of injuries that we picked up this international week. Adam Matthews, who I think is an integral part of the back line. I mean, obviously he's not the most important, but when he leaves the setup, we have to obviously put Michael Lustig in there. Which for me, it changes the dynamic, not just of the back four, but also going forward. I think that Adam Matthews provides something completely different to what Michael Lustig offers, and then it also takes away some of that cover that we have at center half, if you want to call it that, when Lustig fills in and puts in a shift there. What's your take on internationals? I mean, I saw you put out the tweet just before we went on air talking about Kenny Miller once again starting up top for the Scotland setup, when there's, I think you listed 6 or 7 players who should be in front of him. Do you still do you really pay attention to internationals out with the World Cup or maybe the European Championships? I mean, it's just such a bother, and quite frankly, I cringe when I see that week coming up on the calendar, because it always seems like our players pick up injuries, don't they?
Yeah, well, and at the end of the day, I really think it's up to the players, if they choose to go out on international duty. I think it's just because, football these days, they're playing a game every week or so, and there's so much training going into each game, and, you've got stories about Scott Brown, every week, they're giving them injections. So really, what I'd kind of say is, if there's got to be a redevelopment in the Scottish Football League, I'd like to see less than 38 games. And you've got cup games as well and Champions League games to add on top of that.
Exactly. And you also have the dynamic where players are sometimes played in different positions, and that can be a liability in terms of maybe picking up an injury or something like that. So it's now we're joined again by Callum. Maybe he butt dialed us. I think you butt dialed this. So we're getting a glimpse in the butt dialing world of Melbourne. But I mean, what's your take on that? And by the way, the phone lines are open, so please keep calling. What's your take on a player like Scott Brown, who maybe plays in a certain position with the Celtic setup, and then goes to Scotland and maybe plays a bit differently? That's going to put extra stress and extra strain, I would think. I mean, because you train a certain way and with a certain mentality. When you get out of that, certain instincts and certain core capabilities that you've built up leave you, and that puts you in a tough spot sometimes. I think that leaves our players open to injury from time to time. I mean, in the past, Sammy, we'd play him up top and then he'd play out wide left for Greece. That's a completely different setup. Now, obviously, we've seen the fruits of that, putting him in that sort of setup at Celtic, and that's his preferred setup. But what's your take on that? Moving positions with players, that certainly exposes them a bit more so than even if we were just going to keep them in the same position and have just more games.
Overall, I think it's good to get a broader range of views on a player, on what suits a player, as long as each of the opinions is, like a good one from, qualified persons. So, in the case of Samaras, I think international, his international career has helped his, his club career as well, because the managers realised that he's more suited to playing out wide, and then Neil Innes kind of realised that in the internationals and tried it for Celtic. But sometimes international managers, they can put them into one of their weak positions, because it might be a weak position for the national team. Like for Wales last night, Adam Matthews was at left back.
Yeah. That's completely. We've seen him play at left back for Celtic, and he just looks a shadow of the sort of player that we've seen when he's on the right hand side. I think that is a bit of a liability in certain circumstances. It can identify maybe different potentials for a player, but I'm just not a fan of internationals in general. I'll talk to the Rev after we wrap things up. About. The American side just now, which is an absolute shambles. But Josh, thanks so much for calling in. We'll be back this week with a Paradise preview, looking ahead to the game at McDermott Park, and we'll get that cranked up, ready to go, and into the run-in to the first Champions League tie. But thanks so much for calling in, Josh. We'll talk to you soon.
Hail, hail, and I hope with the rest of the show it goes well, and you'll raise lots and lots of monies for a good cause.
Cheers, Josh. Hail, hail. All right. And now we're joined by the Parrot himself. Now, the Parrot. Now, let me ask you, Stephen. Does the Parrot like mellow birds himself? Is that your tipple of choice, or does the Parrot partake in maybe some succulent birdseed with some mellow birds himself? Or that's almost cannibalistic, isn't it?
After the Hibs game last Saturday, he was actually snorting mellow birds at half time. I thought the Bird Society was going to take him off. It's just a very quick call to thank Simmy and Paul for the free drum and Big David. It was lovely meeting him at the book show, lads, and I've put 20 US in the post to you guys.
Fantastic. Yeah, we saw that tweet. We really appreciate it, pal. It's gone towards a good cause, and we're just trying to do our part and raise as much awareness in addition to the money. I mean, like the Rev said, maybe it's a few $100s, I don't know, but the awareness needs to get out there like we did last spring, with the Vanessa Riddle appeal. There was so much exposure. There was so much attention going towards that, and that really facilitated, her meeting the goals that they'd set out to try and raise money so that she could get the treatment that she needs. And we need to do the same with Wee Oscar. He's getting there. He's almost there, and we just want to do as much as we can. So we really appreciate your support with that.
Do you guys want a band sent out?
A badge?
The wristband?
Oh, yeah. I was curious about that. I just assumed that they weren't going to be sending that, like, for example, over to Australia or to the U.S. The shipping alone would probably, exceed a $10 or a £10 donation. But, I would love to have one. I would help me raise awareness here, with the people that, I run into. So I'll have to check into, whether or not we can get that. Maybe I can sort out some way to pay for the shipping on my end or something, but
to be honest, it's light enough, G, so it's easy enough to just put in an envelope and sneak it over, parrot me like I usually do.
Send the Parrot. The Parrot can, carry it on his beak, and it'll be here before we know it.
Yep, definitely. Listen, I've got off the line and let the other lads jump on, but well done with the show, and I'll talk to you guys soon. I hope Rev liked stickers.
I was going to say, before, we'll let you go, I got to say, that was awesome. I got that in yesterday, and the stickers, the ticket from the Helsingborg game at home, that just made my day, and that's awesome, and I really appreciate that.
Oh, there's no problem, Rev. I say to the lads, the Black Mafia, so we've got our tickets for the rest of the Euro games, so I'll get them posted over, because they just usually feed them to the Parrot,
Fantastic stuff.
I'll these. So good luck with the rest of the day.
Hello?
Yep, hello.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought we lost you there for a second. Yeah. No. Oh, did he hang up? The audio portion of this show is absolutely awful. I don't know. You know what? I just wanted to get out of my comfort zone a little bit and try something different. But this was not going to be perfect. I knew it, but it's a bit of a shambles. But I'm delighted with the amount of people who have phoned in so far. If you're sitting by the sidelines and you're thinking about calling in, the lines are open. Go ahead and do it. It's free go to Skype.com, download Skype, add us as a contact. It can't be any easier, and it's going towards a good cause. Got an email here from the Green and White writer, Paul Larkin. Paul says, "Good afternoon, comrades. Unfortunately, I cannot call in today due to circumstances beyond my control." And in parentheses, he has, "Film companies hate it when you spend their money on crack and hookers. Hey, that's showbiz." Okay. It's Larkin is not it's not just a name, it's a lifestyle. I'm happy that Beyond the Waves is undertaking a telethon, but sad it's not being hosted by Jerry Lewis, as he knows far more about Celtic than Graham does.
Oof. And that's just harsh.
Okay, so seriously though, I tip my Kangol hat to you all for doing this. And my pledge is to donate £10 for every show host who pitches up today. So Graham, Rev, Coach, and Seamus, if you're listening to this, you owe Wee Oscar £20. Hail, and best of luck, Paul Larkin. So there you go. Fantastic stuff. If you don't have access to Skype, send us an email. BeyondTheWaves67@gmail.com is how you can get in touch with us, and we'll read out your email on the air. Keep the donations coming. You can donate by going to oscarknox.blogspot.com. Let me send that a tweet here.
So how does that go for Paul now?
To be honest with you, I don't understand. But whatever, he says he's going to donate £10 for every show host who pitches in today. So,
well, if we're matching donations to everyone else and he's matching our donations, then how? Yeah.
Oh, so
we're matching donations.
Oh, wait, this is a good point, Rev. You've highlighted a loophole that can this can be costly for Paul Larkin. Yeah, we'll have to get clarity around that. That's very interesting, because if we go ahead and make 20 donations and it's £10 each, he's out for £200. Oh, I like it.
No more crack and hookers for him.
Crack and hookers are expensive, especially when you're making donations to a great cause. I can't believe we're talking about crack and hookers. We're trying to have a telethon to raise money for the Wee Oscar. Now you can find more information, like I mentioned, at oscarknox.blogspot.com. Visit that website. There's a donate button on the right hand side there. It can't be easier. Just donate with PayPal, and we'll be sending out tweets here if I can figure out how to use Twitter. Callum is probably butt dialing us again. Maybe he's not. Callum, are you there?
Boys, yeah, I'm here.
Oh, I thought you were butt dialing us there before. It sounded like you were in a hot tub or something.
That could have happened as well. That could have happened.
It does happen. It's out of your control. Now, give us. Why were you dressed up in such a dapper setup? I mean, is this common? Is this commonplace? Go ahead. I think we have a delay. It is, Rev, it is all the way over on the other side of the world. I mean, the internet doesn't go through the center of the earth. It has to go up on satellites and shit. Oh, we lost him.
Maybe he's doing, he's probably not on a Wi-Fi, on a network.
This is commonplace on a Saturday night in the show, but in all honesty, it was my friend's 21st tonight. It was my friend's 21st night, so we decided to dress up.
Oh, fantastic! Now the drinking age there is not 21; it's 18, right? But
exactly
you're just
right.
Oh, okay.
Fantastic.
See, here in America, the legal drinking age is 21. So and all that build
Which
up.
is good for me, pre.
Fantastic. Well, but what you have over here is this build up of 18, 19, 20-year-olds, so that by the time you can legally drink when you're 21, it's just an all out. You drink until you're on the brink of your life. Which is never the greatest idea, but I don't make laws. I follow them sometimes.
I must admit though, in Australia, when you're 14, 15, 16, all you want to do is drink beer. So it's exactly the same. The other thing is we start earlier and we just get drunk a lot earlier.
Seems reasonable, and I mean,
not too different from us, really.
No, it
exactly
isn't.
Right.
But we just have to be, a lot more. we have to be slicker about it. We have to find like abandoned parking garages in corporate parks, to park about 20 cars in and, drink our stale, flat, warm beer. Yeah, it seems reasonable. So,
or the stolen, booze, liquor bottles from our parents' liquor cabinets.
Ooh. Rev, share with us, what was your tip of choice to steal from mom and dad's liquor cabinet?
Well, actually, the only, we didn't really have anything until my parents split up, and the stuff that my mom had was like Chambord and, like after dinner liqueurs.
See, that's where you get this classy streak from. You're drinking Chambord and liqueurs, and then next thing you know, you're looking for waistcoats to wear.
Oh God, no, I never touched that stuff. Well, from other friends, we still like Yukon Jack, Canadian, like put hair on your chest whiskey and stuff like that. That's what we did.
Callum, what do you have down in Oz? Is it mostly the Bundy?
Look, I'm not gonna lie, I've never had Bundy and Coke. That's more of the North Queensland area.
All right. Okay.
All we have is Carlton Draft, which is a beer. Melbourne Bitter or Victoria Bitter, which is what you learn to drink from a young age, and then straight to the vodkas. The vodka lemonade limes is the favourite for the 18-year-old Aussie boy.
Fantastic. I do love a bit of the Victoria Bitter. The VB, and I know that it's like the absolute shit beer when you get there, but I love it. I was drinking that. Rev, it tastes very similar to like Rolling Rock.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Rolling Rock.
Yeah.
I'm probably sure that compared to down there, it's like a travesty. But I've been to Outback, and they've got like Tooheys New and stuff like that. I was okay with that.
Yeah, Tooheys New is good, and they have like Tooheys Extra Dry, which is good.
I haven't had that.
And then when you go up to Queensland, then you have like 4X, which is it was okay.
That's bullshit. And I've never had Tooheys New ever. I've actually never had it.
What about what was the James Boags?
I've had James Boags. That's all right.
Yeah.
That's some kind of the standard drink for all the bars and pubs in Melbourne.
Yeah. I saw that a lot in Sydney.
Yeah.
I got to get back to Australia. I'm telling you. And if something happens politically in a couple of months, like I think it's going to, we might be evacuating.
Yeah, definitely.
People of the world, be on guard. America.
You might come to Australia though and have a person more worse than Romney though. So you probably want to come. You probably wouldn't want to come here, I guess.
Well, do you guys have a nuclear arsenal and a military that you're just looking for countries to invade? Because we might have you beat there.
We have a nuclear arsenal in terms of America.
Oh yeah, they have our military.
That's true.
Yeah. Nuclear. Yeah.
But really, it comes down to who's even going to take us, because we're not the most popular.
Right, well, this totally went off the rails. The phone lines are completely open, so please dial in. We're coming up on the 45th minute here, where we're going to blow the whistle for halftime. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back. There's not going to be a separate a sort of podcast feed. You can just keep it right in here. Maybe we'll play a tune for halftime, and then we'll blow the whistle for the second half, and we'll have another 45-minute period with hopefully some injury time. We can continue taking your calls. Rev, what's the figure up to now? Let's put the figure up on the board.
All right. Well, first I got to ask: did Gaffney donate anything? Because if he did, I missed it.
Probably not. So we'll just skip him. Here, I'll throw in a $5 for Gaffney. Put a $5 down for Gaffney for me.
50, 25, so that's 75, 85, 95, 115.
All right, not bad for an hour's
and
work.
What do you say about Gaffney?
I'll just put in a $5 for him. He
5? Okay.
He didn't put in.
So 120.
All right, that's not bad for an hour's work. 120 an hour. That's a pretty good wage.
And that's not including our matching. So we're matching that with, I guess, 60 then. So.
Oh yeah. So we're almost up to 200. All right, what's gonna be our goal, Rev? Should we get to 500? We got to get to 500.
That might be a little lofty.
I'll plus an extra $50.
Another 50.
Callum's donating another 50. All right, so we're almost halfway there. I'm going to blow the halftime whistle here in a second. If you're listening in, you're sitting on the sidelines, call us now. I promise you it won't be awkward.
I unpromise his promise.
Fantastic. All right, let's blow the halftime whistle here. You ready?
Do it.
All over Australia, baby.
I'm trying to run this. I'm trying to send a tweet. This is the longest it's ever taken anyone to send a tweet in their life. I mean, it's like one letter, and then think of something to say, and then the soundboard. It's a complete mess. Let's talk about Celtic here. We have F.A. Ambrose. I'm expecting him to play against St. Johnstone next weekend. What do you make of that, Callum? I've sung the praises of Ambrose for weeks before we had even signed him, when it was a rumor that was put out there by Celtic Rumors itself. I was a big fan of his just by looking at his YouTube videos. I'm a big fan of the YouTube. I can tell everything by watching them. But seriously, he does have the look of a player that we've needed for a really long time. What do you think there? I mean, are you excited by the purchases that we've made?
Look, in all honesty, as me and Pre spoke about yesterday, we haven't really heard about many of the players.
Oh, that's trippy.
Unless you do your own kind of research and stuff. But look, Neil Lennon's been pretty happy of the 3 or 4 players he's got, and so we should be content with these players. Hopefully they add to the squad. Hopefully the young boys that have come in, guys like Jackson Irvine, obviously Tony Watt, that are now coming to the first team squad, can add to the squad and put pressure on the boys that are already in the first team 11. And hopefully for the Champions League within the next 2 or 3 weeks, these boys are adding to the squad and helping develop the skills and all we need to hopefully qualify for the next 16 of the squad of the Champions League.
Yeah, no question. I mean, that would obviously be a windfall in terms of, certainly it would bring in extra cash, but it would be a windfall in terms of our exposure, which is really what we need at this point. Yeah. Rev, let me, this is something that I was thinking about here. Maybe, Callum, we could probably get your thoughts from an Australian perspective as well in terms of, the situation down there. But, Rev, I was thinking about this week, the fact that Fox Soccer, which has picked up the SPL rights, and most of the SPL games are shown on Fox Soccer Plus, but nonetheless, they do have the rights to that. I was thinking this week, as the international breaks were going on and the international games were being played, Fox Soccer doesn't have the rights to many leagues anymore. I mean, it's just the EPL. They lost MLS. They lost Italy. They lost, what else did they have? They had Italy. I don't think they had La Liga. They still have Champions League, but they lost the U.S. men's national team. They really don't have much, and I think that as time goes on, and they need content to fill the spots. I mean, this week it was Arsenal-Liverpool reruns almost every single night. I think that as time goes on, Celtic is going to have to take more of a premium spot on the Fox Soccer lineup, especially given their participation in the Champions League. And then as they progress, I think that's a huge opportunity going forward.
That actually would be fantastic. I haven't thought of that. Especially with a lot of their other own original content shows have fallen by the wayside. For example, Fox Soccer Phone In. Say what you will about it, but it was great to text bomb these tools and see your inflammatory messages scroll across the bottom of the screen. They don't have many things like that. Like, I think there's going to be a Liverpool reality show starting soon,
which is going to be absolutely brilliant to watch. I mean, just
that's
watching
gonna be the new train wreck.
Watching that dressing room explode. Here we are live in the Liverpool boot room. Boom.
That's going to be the Jersey Shore for American soccer fans. That's going to be it.
Exactly.
But right. That's you made a good correlation there. That they have, I don't know how you've seen most of your games at the CSC, if they've just tuned into Fox Soccer Plus or if they've gotten from Celtic TV or whatever. But all the games except I think for last week's, all 3 or 4 of them. They've all been live. Last week's game was, I forget what they showed instead, but immediately on the back of whatever match they showed instead from SPL was the Celtic game. So at least you got it at 12 o'clock.
Right.
So they're showing, and I mean, what else are you going to do? You can't show them play because it's only SPL, not Division 3. So Celtic's going to be playing pretty much every week. That's the way I expect it, even if not right on time, immediately after it ends.
Yeah, and that's always
which might
good
be
exposure.
better, especially for 7:30 games.
And that's always good exposure, especially in light of the fact that, the company, I guess it's an offshoot of Al Jazeera, has come in and bought up the rights to La Liga, Serie A, the U.S. men's national team, the World Cup qualifying, Ligue 1, Ligue 1. I like that. I just like saying that. And now it's a Ligue 1.
But it would be a good way for them to kind of match it up, especially because it's like, hey, here's this other team playing on our other smaller channel that you have to pay for, but maybe you might want to check out. Here's them playing against, Barcelona. Check it out.
Well, and here's the where I was going with that was, this BN Sport is the name of the entity, that Al Jazeera Sports channel, I guess, that's bought up all the rights. Barely anybody has access to it. At the moment, it's only available on DirecTV. I think the Dish Network has it, and then Comcast, I think, signed an agreement, but I'm not sure if everybody that has Comcast cable is currently getting it. If you have Verizon Fios, you're effed.
Yeah, I've got Fios. I can't get it. BN Sports actually pays Comcast to carry their channel.
Right.
Which is unheard of. It's the other way around.
Well, the MLS did that in its infancy, where it actually paid ESPN to carry their games, not the other way around. There wasn't any broadcasting rights. It was like, here, take my money and please play my it was almost like a political ad. But nonetheless, yes, BN Sport is doing something similar. But my point to that is, so many people can't watch those games. They're going to be looking for something to watch. And if Fox Soccer, if all they're left with is EPL, obviously people, here are going to watch EPL. But Celtic being played on those channels, on that Fox network of channels, that Fox family of channels, people are going to, by default, get exposed to Celtic. I think that ups our profile even more because of the restricted access to other leagues. It used to be, I used to say this, last year and even before that, the U.S. was, I think, one of the best places on earth to be a football fan. You could watch games 24 hours a day, and it would be on, it wouldn't be on satellite. It would just be on regular, basic cable television. You could watch on ESPN. They'd have the Dutch leagues at 6 a.m. our time. Going into, the EPL would start around 7:30 or 8 o'clock. They finish up probably around 2 or 2:30. You either have like a Serie A game in the afternoon, and then one of the Liga games would be in the evening. And then you'd have MLS at night. And then if you're a complete and utter whack job and you've overdosed on mellow birds, they got the Japanese league and the Good A League, at 1 and 3 a.m. Respectively. Speaking of which, the Good A League, is that catching on as a viable entity? Are Australians, not just the expats, but people who are born and raised in Australia, is that starting to gain a foothold, not just in terms of participation, attendance, but also consumerism? Do you see people walking down the street with a Melbourne Heart kit on, or a Victory kit, or a Brisbane Roar kit? Do you see much of that? Does it have sort of a nerdy stigma attached to it, and has that made progress? I'm interested in that.
Look, no doubt that since LA has started and since there's been an independence between religion and teams, has there been more, clearly there's been an uptake in interest, membership, sponsors, all that type of stuff in the LA League. And look, Pre and I support Melbourne Victory, which has been like kind of the first team that's happened in Melbourne since the new LA started, and that's just sold out its membership for the year, which is 20,000, because that's all it can kind of fit in the new stadium, which we've just built.
Fantastic.
But no doubt, since Del Piero has just signed to Sydney, since guys that have come, guys like Fred or Archie Thompson or Harry Kuehl, these guys that have come back to the LA, Brett Emerton, who are quite famous Socceroos players, the guys that have played in the EPL in the first division in the English Premier League. Once these guys start coming back to the A-League, people really start to support it, because Australians are sports fans in general.
Yeah, definitely.
In Melbourne, we support anything. We support if Melbourne or Victoria were playing in the Bowls League of Australia, we would support them, or the archery. We just love our sport. So anything you have, you any teams or any tournaments you have in Victoria, especially, you have some of that games. But Australia has really picked up its interest in soccer or football since the World Cups in Germany and South Africa and Brazil. Hopefully this year later in the next couple of years when we qualify, because people just love their sport and love Australia doing really well. So people get behind it, and with guys like Frank Laurie driving the FFA along, we really should see an uptake in interest in the A-League in particular over the next couple of years.
Interesting. Yeah, I've been keeping my eye on it. Especially, when I was in Australia, I tried to consume as much of the sport while I was there. Obviously you have rugby league, rugby union. I'm not really, I don't even understand, any of the rules or what separates rugby league, rugby union. You got you got Waratahs. You got what the hell is a Waratah? You got a shark. You got the Sharks. You got the All Blacks. You got the Springboks. The whole nine. It's mental too. People get so into it, and when I was there, I could sense that there was it was very synonymous with what we see over here with the MLS, where there's some people who are sort of investigating it, a lot of expats that are checking it out, but it's not to the same quality, I guess, if you will. The quality of play on the pitch isn't up to the standard, and that leads to some cynicism as well, which can be a roadblock. But nonetheless, what we're seeing here in America is, the kids, as they grow up and as they play in the sport, they become more consumers. And then, when you have the ability to sort of season, I guess, if you will, the MLS with, watching the EPL in the early mornings or La Liga or Serie A, you get a sense for the difference in quality, and then you can also almost track the advancement of the MLS as it gets closer and closer. And it is making advances. And I from what I've seen of the A-League, we do get, some coverage here in the U.S. Obviously it's 1 or 3 o'clock in the morning here, which, is typically no problem for me because I'm mental that way. But I have seen, a progression in terms of the quality, and I guess, what do they call it? The grand final there, is the championship game. I've watched that the past couple of years. One year they had in Newcastle, I think. It's very interesting. Now, while I was down there, I tried to get into the Aussie rules, the AFL, if you were. Now, I was there in February, so it wasn't the season for the AFL, but they did have a charity match because I was there when all the fires were happening in Victoria. So they had a fundraising match. I guess I don't know who it was, like St Kilda and Collingwood, maybe. Or that sounds right. Who's the team that would be most closely aligned politically with Celtic? I read Pre's blog from a couple of weeks ago talking about growing up and supporting Carlton, which is sort of the antithesis of supporting Celtic, and he had to go away from it, and he became a bit jaded and cynical about the whole AFL process. But is there a team that maybe is on the other side, maybe a St Kilda that would be closely aligned politically and sort of the ethos of Celtic?
It would be either Collingwood, St Kilda, or Richmond, who are all three working class Catholic areas around Melbourne. But my dad, and now who I support and who I'm a member, are actually, it's called the Essendon Football Club. And it's funny when you go to the Essendon Collingwood blockbuster, which is like the Glasgow derby, if Sevco was still alive.
Good catch.
In terms of, a lot of people will say to you, that's a good top you're wearing, but why are you wearing that scarf or something up? Because a lot of the Collingwood supporters are actually so supporters from Scotland or Ireland who are working class Catholics who have come up through the ranks. But the Essendon Football Club, who I support, is actually a Mason team who has a sash across their jersey, which is actually the Guernsey.
Oof. Tommy in Glasgow is going to be paying them a call here in the next couple of days, I think.
Well, my dad supported it, so that's why I support it, I guess.
Yeah, I hear you. We don't quite have the same sort of dynamic here in the U.S., especially with the NFL. Our rivalries are more geographic, and there really isn't any sort of like religious element or even sort of like organizational element. It's just like
there's no political thing. There's no, like I see a lot of times in most sports, in Europe and elsewhere, it's like especially when you have two teams from one city, you've got like the rich team, and then the working class team. And you don't have that here in the U.S.
Yeah, it's much more. There's much more parity as it pertains to that, and it's completely geographic, and it's interchangeable in many cases too. I am definitely the exception there. I will never support any team other than Philadelphia, which is where I'm from, and I still call home. But there's plenty of people who, if they grow up in a certain area and then they move to a different area, they'll just start supporting those teams because they live there, which you'd never see. Certainly in Europe, with football supporting, I think that's unique. It's a very sort of generic way to consume sport, but nonetheless, that's sort of the environment here in the U.S. We got a couple of emails that I want to read out. This one's from David O'Neill. He says, "Hey Graham, no Skype, so thought I would drop you guys an email. I donated £10 to the Wee Oscar appeal by text message. Rev, put that up there."
Got it.
It's probably the easiest way to donate, as there is no need to find your wallet and get your bank details out, although this option is available only to those in the UK. Instructions below. Enjoying the show more than the Scotland game? That's very high praise. Keep up the good work. Regards, David. Thanks, David. The how you can do that, I appreciate this as well. To donate to the Wee Oscar appeal, you could just text KNXY 99. So that's Kappa. What's N? I don't know the military lettering sort of deal.
November.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Rev. Kappa November X-ray.
Well, it's Kilo.
Kilo. Okay. Sorry. Kilo November X-ray. What's Y?
Yankee.
Yellow.
Yankee. Okay. Let's start over again. Kilo, November X-ray Yankee 99. So just text that and Niner. Yeah, and text that with your amount, £3, £4, £5, £10, whatever, to 70070. UK networks only. 100% of the donation goes to Oscar's appeal. So fantastic. Just put in the text, and I guess in the subject you put KNXY99. And then the number that you would text that to is 70070. Okay, fantastic. I suck at technology, so sorry that took about 20 minutes for me to figure out. But
Graham.
Yes, sir.
My phone's about to die. My Skype, and I'm at a friend's house, so I don't know charging. But I just want to say, brilliant thing you was doing tonight, and obviously out of the journey. But hopefully we can raise as much money as possible for the Oscar charity. God bless you. And I'll see you next week or the week after when you do the next Beyond the Waves podcast.
Thanks so much, pal. We really appreciate you joining us and donating, and all the best. Everybody listen to the Rebel podcast. It's absolutely phenomenal. Take care for the rest of your evening. All right, pal?
Cheers, boys.
Yep.
See you, mate.
Cheers.
Later.
They are good stuff, that Rebel podcast. I really enjoyed the Homeboys, yesterday morning as well. I mean, it was morning for us. It was almost like drive time radio, David Harper in the helicopter. The eye in the sky. Harper's going to give us traffic and transit on the twos.
I wanted to throw it out there before, but since you kind of segued with that email about the Scotland game, I got Twitter open, and the worldwide trend, it was number 5, was Kenny Miller for some reason. Underneath, you can't be in a relationship with me, and above, ready for Jonas single. So
that seems appropriate.
So you can't be in a relationship with Kenny Miller and something about the Jonas Brothers. I don't really know. I don't get that, but
that's clear enough, Rev.
Yep.
I think it makes sense. We got an email also from Celtic Dreams. Celtic Dreams is another member of the Spreaker network, doing great stuff in conjunction with Housey. I know they're not together, but sort of doing the same thing at different times, working together with that. It's absolutely phenomenal. Celtic Dreams, Big G's running that operation. He got in touch. Great show. Just to let you know, Celtic Dreams have donated £20. Celtic Dreams is on tonight on Spreaker at 7 p.m. So check them out on Spreaker. Rev put that down there. That's £20 from the boys at Celtic Dreams there. Big G and Mrs. G as well. I'll be listening in. They're doing fantastic stuff, keeping us entertained with tunes on this weekend when there is no football to speak of. Or, there's football, but it's not to be spoken about.
Exactly.
What were your thoughts last night? We got beat, and I tweeted this before. I had the feeling like we were going to get beat, and I don't know. I guess I can put it together as to why, but it was just a feeling that we were going to lose. And it was a confluence of a lot of different factors. What was your take on the game tonight? Were you able to watch it? Because like I mentioned before, beIN Sport has gotten all of the rights and is completely hoarding all of the soccer content here in the U.S., but I went out to the pub and watched it. I know you're pretty resourceful at going out to the pub yourself. Did you get a chance to see the game?
I elected not to watch it.
Good call.
I didn't even know what channel it was on. I guess if it was on, beIN Sports, I wouldn't have gotten to see it anyway. I did have people asking me if I was going to go into the city to the, one of the popular
Nevada Smiths or something.
Yeah. Well, no, Nevada's is off limits now. There's drama, but the new ones, Legends, Football Factory at Legends, or Smithfield NYC, which was the actual workers from Nevada Smiths opened up their own place.
What happened there? Before there's drama there. I need to find out what's the drama here. Nevada Smiths.
There was a lot of supporters clubs, pretty much all for the European, like EPL teams, like the New York Blues, the Chelsea team, Manchester, the New York Gooners. They were all up there. They had memorabilia on the walls, things like autographed jerseys, stuff like that they were basically loaning to Nevada's to kind of make the place look more legit and more official. But it was still their property, and there had been falling outs with the main guy. I mean, I don't know how much you know, but there's this guy, Jack. He wasn't the manager, he wasn't the owner, he was just a regular bartender, but he was like the top boy there. Like, everyone loved him. What they do is they have, bouncers on the weekends, especially because it's right by NYU, so there's a lot of, underage drinking going on in the area.
Yeah, man.
And the bouncer, I guess, didn't do his job, let in someone for underage drinking.
Nice.
And they put it on Jack for actually serving the person, but it's not his job to check ID. So they canned Jack. All the supporters clubs said, well, we're going elsewhere. They brought Jack back, fired him again, and everyone's like, all right, we're done. And their property, being, the jerseys and such, we're told that, they can't have that. It's now the property of Nevada Smiths. I don't know if some clubs got their stuff back. People were like, well, we're just going to go in with, nails and electric drill bits and just take it ourselves. But, so yeah, that was about two years ago,
okay.
Year and a half ago.
Yeah, sounds like it's all kicked off, and Nevada Smiths is off limits going forward. That's good information, because you always hear a lot of fanfare for it, and there's always live broadcasts by Fox Soccer from there. So it's good to know that that's so now the place to go is Legends then.
Well, actually, I don't even think Nevada's exist, because I think they lost their lease and they got bought out by NYU, but they are reopening somewhere else in Manhattan. But I think they have officially closed their doors by now. But yeah, that's the big. It's the Euro Snob pub. I'll be honest. It's right by Jack Dempsey's. It's a block away, and so if you're going to be there, you might as well just go to Jack Dempsey's. Home of the Manhattan #1 CSC.
Yes.
It's right by Penn Station, West 33rd. It's called Football Factory at Legends.
All right.
And then the other one, the new one, I don't know the address. It's a bit south from Legends and Penn Station. It's called Smithfield NYC, and that was Jack and Kieran and other people, the actual workers from Nevada's who decided to open up their own place.
Fantastic stuff. Fantastic. So you didn't watch the game there. Obviously, the results speak for themselves. It wasn't pretty. You should be thankful that you didn't get to see the game. What's your take on Jurgen Klinsmann? I've been a critic of his since his appointment. He's had just a host of people that have come out and really called him out. for his management, his man management style, of course, his lack of tactical acumen. I mean, it's just nonstop, nothing but attack. There's no organizational consideration whatsoever, which is absolutely it's catastrophic when you are trying to bring new players in who are not familiar with playing next to each other. If you don't pay attention to those to set pieces, especially, which we saw were exposed, we were found out big style last night. If you don't pay attention to that, you will get exposed, and that's exactly what happened last night. This Jamaican team, they're not to be taken lightly. And the proof was right there. And I'm telling you, just because we're coming back and playing them in Columbus, we're in big trouble. Let's make no mistake about this. This is a situation where Klinsmann has come in, and Bob Bradley. I was never a huge Bob Bradley fan, but I appreciated what he did with what he was on offer for. Yes, he was stubborn and stuck with certain players where maybe they didn't offer as much as we potentially could have and we could potentially display. But nonetheless, you couldn't argue with the sort of results. And his style, it very much suited the type of player generally that we had in order to maximize results. We don't have technically gifted players that can send amazing through balls and time runs beautifully. We have good athletes, we have strong players, and setting the team out to play in a way that would maximize our strengths with that and get results. I think it was pragmatically, it made sense. I agree with the concept that we need to start teaching and bringing kids up to appreciate the more technical side of the game from a very early age. But Jurgen Klinsmann is trying to manage this side currently how he wants to manage the team 10 years from now. And you can't do that. You don't have the pieces in play. So Bob Bradley leaves. Jurgen Klinsmann comes in. Now, Bob Bradley, let's make a housing analogy. Let's make a building analogy here. Bob Bradley has a side. It's a beautiful house, but the deck is a little creaky, and you need a railing out in front. Okay, but it's manageable. It's fixable. Maybe swap a few pieces in here or there. Jurgen Klinsmann comes in with a bulldozer and a wrecking ball, smashes the entire thing to pieces, and wants to build a nightclub on the foundation of a place where a house formerly stood. Okay, now he wants to.
Good way to say it.
He wants to put in a Euro sort of techno trash nightclub on top of a foundation where a house used to sit, where there's only zoning regulations for a house. There's not zoning regulations for the nightclub. So he doesn't care. He's going to do that. The foundation is creaking based off of it, and he doesn't care. All he wants is leather. He just wants leather, Rev.
Yeah, no, that's actually a pretty good analogy. I mean, I was a little bit partial to Bradley, him coming from New York, and it's a shame that he got canned from New York because I would have liked to see what he could have done there. If he stayed longer than a season and a half.
9. He is rubbish.
No.
He is rubbish. He does not play attacking football enough. 9.
I was willing to give Klinsmann a chance. We went.
There is not enough techno. We must have techno in the dressing room, and we must have leather. I need a leather collar with spikes on it, and we are going to attack. Forget about tracking back.
This was the best the U.S. has ever been. I mean, almost winning, the Confederations Cup in 2009. Did pretty well in the World Cup. I don't at all think that was a failure in the World Cup. And then, the friendlies following the World Cup, they kind of lost it, and I think he lost the dressing room. But, I mean, you had the players at collectively at an all-time high, and you didn't have to go in and scrap the team. Sure, you can go in and do a new camp and, see guys
a new camp?
You can... A new camp at the new camp.
Do they have techno there?
Probably, actually.
I need more techno.
You know what I mean? Like, he just came in, and I've lost pretty much all interest in U.S. games, at least for now. I mean, we'll see what happens when the World Cup comes around. But I've also changed my views.
I don't know if we're going to qualify.
Yeah, that's it's going to be close. Like I was saying on...
That's unbelievable. Think about that.
To elaborate what I was saying on Twitter last night, there's about 21 months or so before the next World Cup starts and everything, 22 months. And if you're going to bring in a new coach, you do it now because granted they don't have anybody to bring in. But you bring somebody in now to give them a good time to do what they want to do with the team, not necessarily rebuild. I mean, you might have to now, but
Rev, all we need is more techno. We are going to play silky smooth passing all over the place, and we are going to try and retain possession without using any width whatsoever. And forget about being organized. If you do not like the techno, get out of the locker room.
And now is the time on Sprockets with Vitans.
Oh, look at you, Rev. Schnell. Enough of that. Jim Boy X is
we
getting...
just lost all our
we did. Listeners. Nobody else is listening. I'm so sorry. I completely let down the purpose of this, what we were trying to do. This is a train wreck. I'm trying to get it to the point where it's so bad it's actually kind of good. Like it's completely come full circle, but it's completely gone off the rails. I tried my best though. It's not exactly my forte, this sort of setup. But Jim Boy X is getting in touch on Twitter. Can he phone in? I'm out and about, but have donated 30 quid to Wee Oscar. We'll listen to the show later. Put it down, Rev. Got 30 quid, and then another message. Oh, this is controversial. Des Tinney is getting in touch at Des Tinney Photo on Twitter. He's saying, we'll donate £10 if you answer this. Do you think the Orioles can beat the forces of darkness and win the AL East pennant?
No, not going to happen.
A Beyond the Waves exclusive. Let's talk about this, Rev. What happened to your forces of darkness? What is it? Now, they got the win last night against the O's?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a 2-game lead.
No, just one, I believe.
Okay, so they have the 1-game lead. You know what? If you're going to crater, and I mean, let's be honest, every team, no matter what, baseball, football, whatever, there's going to be a rough patch that you're going to go through. But if you're going to do it, I think the Yankees, and listen, I'm no Yankee fan, but I think the Yankees picked a pretty decent time to do it. There's still about 20 games left, I believe. There's plenty of time.
More like 25, but close enough.
Okay,
yeah.
25. So there's plenty of time left to right the ship, as it were, and get the momentum going back. But, I don't see the Yankees continuing this sort of downward slide. I actually see this as quite dangerous for the Yankee haters out there. Sorry to our friends down in Oz who joined us tonight. We're really appreciative of that. But I just don't see this Yankee side being a chronic sort of downer. They will find their form, and it's going to be dangerous. I mean, because as sharply as they went down, they're going to bounce right back up just as sharply, and that's exactly when you want to time it, going into the playoffs, getting into people's heads. The Orioles, I mean, it's been 14 years since they've even been close to this predicament. Buck Showalter, excellent manager, but
former Yankee manager.
It's a lot to ask. It's a lot to ask of his side. I personally, earmuffs, Rev. Personally, Des, I would love to see it. I'd love to see maybe some new blood, as it were, get into the mix here. I think it's a fun Orioles side that Showalter's put together and really shown his acumen as a baseball man in terms of piecing together different sort of players, different types of players, and their personality, and molding it into something that's a viable entity. And it's a far cry from where they were before he took over, which was absolute crap. So.
Well, the Yankees are always notoriously, annually, every year, they're slow starters. And, you looked at, the first, maybe 10, 15, 20 games into the season this year, you had the O's and Tampa Bay at the top of the East, or maybe it was the O's and the Jays, I forget. And then the Yankees and the Red Sox were in the basement, which was like, it was bizarro world. This is kind of an enigma this year because after the All-Star break in the beginning of July, going into September, that's when the Yankees always just steamrolled.
Yeah.
So for them to kind of have like a mini collapse around now is weird, and I'm not worried that I don't think anything's going to happen. I mean, there's plenty of time for them to pick it back up. And like you said, that's the perfect time when you want to get hot going into the playoffs. I mean, it's not like there's only 18 games left in the season, and you really need just one to clinch the NL East, and then you can't win 1 out of 18 games. So it could be worse, but
we will see. We will see. It's all kicking off.
No, you don't get the Mets dig.
No, I don't care.
Oh well, that was for Harper.
Oh, there you go. There you go, Harper. You know what? To be honest, I'm so focused in on Celtic right now. Nothing else even exists.
I'll admit I haven't gone to a Yankee game this year, and usually I've gone to at least 3, 4, 5, and I haven't gone yet. So
I'm up to my eyeballs.
I've been soccer this year.
Yeah, I mean, podcasts and blogs and websites.
And, right.
Oh, it's all a bit mental. But
so that's 10 there. 10 for Dez.
10 for Dez.
Since I answered correctly.
No, I don't know, Des. Make of that, whatever you will. But nonetheless, let's play a song here really quick, and then we'll open up the phone lines back up. I think somebody's at my door, so I should probably go answer that. Might be my wife. We'll play a song really quick, and then we'll be right back. Is that okay, Rev?
Sounds good to me.
Fantastic. We'll be right back.
Just
Beyond the Waves Celtic Football Show is coming to you live this afternoon. It's officially, it's not officially afternoon yet. It's almost afternoon here, but it's certainly afternoon over there. Rev, you're never going to guess what just happened.
I was reading the chat. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so the doorbell was just ringing. I just installed the doorbell last week. What a great idea that was.
You've been living there for 4 or 5 months, and you just put the doorbell in now.
Yeah, we had a knocker, and I got to replace the knocker, so I got to get one of the, like the proper, just badass, like sort of Irish knockers that they have out there. But excuse me, got to wet my whistle a little bit. I'm a little dry. To be honest, I'm completely nervous because this is totally not my comfort zone. But hopefully, it's not a complete train wreck for those who are listening in. But so the doorbell goes off, like a couple times. You do the first one, and then I'm like, oh, okay, well, if it's the mailman or something, they'll just buzz off. And then it rang again, and I'm like, oh shit, it's probably my wife, and she's probably got groceries and stuff, and I needed the help, and she's gonna be mad at me. So I go up and I look out the window, thank God, and it's like a couple guys in suits. I'm like, oh shit, and I'm like, what the hell did I do? So I answered because they looked like they were feds or something. So I answered the door, and they're like, hello, brother. Like, and then it's like, oh shit.
White guy's calling a white guy brother, not good.
So we got through the whole pleasantries. Hello, brother. And, the whole deal, they gave me the spiel and everything. And I'm like, listen, I'm in the middle of doing a radio show that's going worldwide, around the world. So it's not a great time. Do you guys mind if, I interview you? Can you come on and I'll do an interview? And they both looked at each other like, what are they supposed to do to that? So then they go into like sort of the spiel about, the good word and the good news and like the whole deal. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll join your deal, if you join the Worldwide Tim Parade. And they were like, oh, I don't think we should do that, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no. I think I chased them away. I think that they got scared for some reason, which is a shame, Rev, because, the Worldwide Tim Parade is it's a good time. I think those guys would have had a good time. Don't you?
Absolutely. I'd throw them in the huddle.
Yeah, well, my first, the first act would be, fellas, this is Deco.
Oh, God.
Deco, meet Jehovah's Witnesses. Deco, have you heard the good news? Oh, for Jesus' sake. So anyway, we had to cut that visit short with the Jehovah's Witnesses, and all the best to them. I hope that they have a lovely day and they do exceptionally well for themselves. But we have very important work that we're doing here that we need to get back to. The Oscar Knox appeal. Oscar, obviously, as we've talked about and what we're doing, he's suffering from neuroblastoma. It's just a very harsh disease that affects children. Primarily, tumors develop in the abdomen, and it affects the nervous system and the development of the nervous system. It's just tragic. Anytime, for me personally, I just can't deal with kids being sick like this. It's not right. It's not fair. I hate it. I hate to see it. And we need to do anything that we can. Like I said, if it's giving up sweets for a month, just to kick in 10 quid or to have one less pint, if you're going out tonight and kick in a $5 or whatever it is. It's going to a good cause, especially, cutting back on the extra pint. Think about the severity of your hangover. Think about that tonight. You can minimize the severity of your hangover tomorrow and help a child in need at the same time. I think that's a win-win, Rev. What do you think?
I was going to say that's a win-win situation if I ever heard one.
No question about it. So the phone lines are open. We need more calls. If you're just getting in, give us a call. Add us on Skype. We had a couple of additions on Skype, and haven't heard from them yet. One of them is the Carluke Shamrock intrepid reporter BJ Mack. He just added us, and I was hoping he would call in. Maybe he still will, but I don't think he's on. But
now let me give the official tally here.
Okay, yeah, give us the tally.
14 donations comes to a total of $240 of all denominations. I just put the numbers together, which will be matched by $120 from us, which brings us to $360, and that's not including Paul matching our matching donations, nor the start of the 50 quid from day before
Phil's book. Let's remind the listeners again, you can get a signed copy. There's only going to be one of them. You heard it live right here. Phil McGillivon is only signing one copy of his new book, which is an Amazon bestseller, Downfall. And you can bid on it, and we'll have information in terms of how you can do that. And all proceeds will be going to the Wee Oscar campaign. It's going to be just what an incredible, fantastic gesture to make there. So we will have details in terms of how to do that. It's just fantastic stuff.
So we very well, I mean, I have to sit down and actually do the math on how we're going to figure out Paul's donation, but we're, he will be doing over, 50 quid. So we're over the 400 mark. So we can hit the 500 before we're done.
Our goal was 500. We're almost there. Please. You know what that sound is? Get in touch. Call us on Skype. It's so easy. Download Skype, skype.com. Free download, free to call us no matter where you are. You heard from Callum down in Australia. He's butt dialing us like crazy, and it's free. So don't worry about the what you're going to say or how you're going to sound. Trust me. We will take care of everything. We will not. I refuse to let anybody look bad. We will make you look like an absolute champion, mate.
We will look bad on purpose on our end to make you look good.
Well, that was sort of my thought process behind this. I was thinking about it. When we were in Philadelphia, we saw the guys from the Boston CSC, and they had T-shirts that they even wore to the game, the Philly versus the Celtic versus Real Madrid friendly in Philadelphia. They had T-shirts with the Wee Oscar Twitter feed written on the back. It's at @Wee_Oscar. You can find them on Twitter. But they had T-shirts made up with the information on how to donate and some background there. And I actually, when we were going down to the stadium, it was myself and my wife and Prefontaine was with us as well. And we were explaining to my wife what was Wee Oscar. And the gears started to turn. About how can we use this silliness that we do to raise awareness and raise funds. And I was thinking, about how would this work and how would I do it? And you can tell from the fantastic production value that I spent, loads of time on this. It's honestly, it's not really all that easy for me, but nonetheless, I wanted to do something, because listen, if I can make a complete and utter ass out of myself for an hour and raise money, then count me in. I'm all about it. Rev?
Graham's going to keep singing until someone calls in. Dear God, please someone call in.
That might be effective. Maybe if I threaten. maybe under threat. Like if, yeah, okay.
I mean, the replay value, for someone listening, tomorrow, later in the week, might not be so good. But, I mean, at least live, if it's effective, fuck it.
Well, maybe, it could work either way. I mean, people could request certain variations of the Champions League parody song.
£5 a request
that I sort of riff on, but in the meantime, I guess I can just make up songs, until somebody calls. We need at least one more caller. Come on, if you're sitting by the sidelines or whatever, just call. Just send us a Skype or Skype into us, whatever. It's 10 quid. You'd be a hero. Rev.
Oi.
Oi. Ah, yes. Uh-huh.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Yes, indeed. We just want another caller. You heard the sound. We just want one more caller. Ah, yes. It's lovely. To hit our goal of 500 pounds, dollars, or loonies. Whatever denomination. Oh! Somebody had enough. The Parrot has joined us once again. Parrot, are you ready to call Uncle?
Graham, I heard you I thought you were going to start singing there, and I went, I've got dollars in this flat. I'm not leaving them about. I'll donate another $20 on behalf of Pope Paul, and he can sort me out later on. He doesn't know about it yet, but God bless him. I'll get the money out of him somehow, mate.
Fantastic. On behalf of all of the listeners, I want to thank you for ending that. It was effective. It was Rev's idea. I blame it all on him, but we really appreciate it. Please give our thanks to Pope Paul for contributing. Rev put that up on the board. And
20 that was?
20 US, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Perfect. Fantastic. Thanks so much, pal. What's on the agenda for this evening?
Yeah, well, I was at a Glasgow funeral on Thursday, Graham, and 20 of the people who were at the funeral with me were actually banned from the bar where the wake was. They got a one-day pass to go to the pub, and I sort of left at 7 p.m. and it was getting messy, mate. So I've not heard from any of them in 2.5 days now.
So yeah, it might be time to start tracking them down, see what happened.
I've got a few phones are ringing now. They don't do Facebook, they don't do Skype or anything like that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm supposed to be going to a barbecue, believe it or not, in Glasgow at this time of the year tonight. So I've got the glad rags on and just standing by to see what happens, you know. So the Jehovah's Witnesses, was it any female ones good looking?
No. It was a couple of young white guys, and to be honest with you, you know, they went through their pitch, I guess, with the good news and have you heard the good word and, all that. I was just more focused on how can I get them on the air. I want to interview them live. And I figured they would have been fine with it. Now, the thing that was also in the back of my mind was, how do I explain this to my wife? I have 2 Jehovah's Witnesses sitting in my basement in front of a microphone, and I'm interviewing them. But I told her that I was trying to raise funds for a sick child in Belfast. And then I mean, what my wife would be thinking if she saw that, but it didn't matter. I would worry about it when we got there. I thought, to spread the good word and all that kind of stuff, they'd be happy to do it, but they didn't. They sort of refused, and I think the one guy was like, can we come back later? It's like, well, I said something like, I'll join your movement if you agree to join the Worldwide Tim Parade. And the guy was like, looked at the other guy like, do you know what that is? And it's like, no. It's like, so I don't think they're going to be coming back, unfortunately. But that would have been good radio.
I think they're very one-tracked in their beliefs that they aren't allowed to diverge from their chosen path as to such. But no, as I say, it's a better line this time, buddy. I had a bad echo. So yeah, if you and Revs, I've got Deco's Team Oscar band. So if you and Revs, I want one out, I'll send you one out.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
They're available. Anybody that's listening into this podcast, and I said in the Homeboys about a month ago, they're available from. There's a little book corner in the Forge Market, which is about a 5-minute walk from Celtic Park, and there's a couple of bars right next door to it, so they can pop in. The bands are £2 each.
Oh, fantastic!
And the people who are in the stall have just got them all in a bucket at the front, mate. But yeah, I mean, as I said before, it's you are doing really well with the show. So, what's your plans for the weekend yourself?
After I wrap up this complete abomination and train wreck of a show, hopefully we're going to hit our goal of 500 pollers, if you will. I'm going to go outside and I'm going to cut the grass, and I'm going to put some more mulch down and hopefully finish that project. And then I'm going to make a fire pit with my bare hands.
Nice.
And then they're calling for some bad weather here later on in the afternoon, so I might have to cut that off a bit early. But yeah, not too much overly exciting or out of control, because that is the life of the married man, a completely mental podcaster who is passionately obsessed with the entity and the mightiness that is the Glasgow Celtic Football Club.
It could be worse, Graham. You could be Craig Levine, for God's sake, But just before I go, I'd like to say, if MD else phones in and makes a donation, I will buy them a Mellow Birds at Paul Larkin's next book lunch.
Free Mellow Birds on the Parrot. Thank you so much. Fantastic. People, you need to take advantage of this.
It can be £1, it can be £100. They will get a Mellow Birds off me. So keep up the good work, guys, and I'll get back to listening to the show.
Cheers, pal. We'll talk to you soon. I think I'm getting better at the hanging up. I used to be just, atrocious at that. I'm sticking with the cheers, pal. We'll see you later.
Right.
But see you later is so American, like, see you later, man.
Catch you later, bro.
Hey, later. Awesome. Awesome. High five. Let me just send this tweet out.
In the chat room, Joe Casey saying check your email.
Yeah, I'm trying to do about this. See, that's the problem. You know, typically with the show, I have my outline in front of me, and certain things I can go on cruise control. This, I'm flying by the seat of my pants, and I'm trying to do about 10 different things all at once. So checking my email, sending out tweets, checking the chat room, dealing with you, and the beautiful baldness that is the Rev.
Fresh baldy too.
Fresh baldy, fantastic. It's the only way to bald it out. This is from Joe Casey. Hi Graham, could you give a shout out to my mom and dad, Jerry and Joe, who are flying back home to Glasgow today after a visit. They'll be downloading the podcast when they get home. And a shout out for my daughter, Isla, who now has her first Celtic kid.
Isla. ISLA. Isla.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. Isla. So shout out to look at this. So there's a picture. I wish I could figure out a way to tweet this, but it's their wee daughter who has a one of the away kits, the black one with the the tricolor sleeves coming up. It's absolutely adorable. That's from Joe. Getting in touch from Glencoe, Ontario. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Put that up there, Rev. That's 2 donations to Wee Oscar. They didn't specify, but nonetheless, we'll throw in a $5 for that. So put that up there. And what else was I doing? I was sending out a tweet. I think I sent out like half a tweet, but hopefully it makes sense. Just again, oscarknox.blogspot.com. It gives you the story, that they're dealing with just now. Wee Oscar, he's a 3-year-old, a 3-year-old young boy. He's got neuroblastoma. I mean, just to think about, for young parents and how to deal with that, especially when, the UK health system just tells them flat out that they don't have the resources to treat your child as aggressively and comprehensively as you can. I mean, think about the feeling of helplessness. It's absolutely awful. And personally, I feel an obligation to help. You know what I just realized? Monday is Wee Oscar's birthday.
Is it really?
Yeah, so he's going to be 4. So happy birthday, early birthday for Wee Oscar, September 10th. So everybody, like I said, you can find him on Twitter at @Wee_Oscar. Send him a birthday message on Monday, just to sort of brighten the spirits and everything. Hopefully he has a wonderful birthday. He's also got something called the Jacobson syndrome, which is a rare disorder as well. So it's a confluence of rare disorders or rare afflictions. They say the likelihood of a child having Jacobson syndrome as well as neuroblastoma is 1 in 10 billion. It's just,
So he's, that's like literally probably the only person on the planet then.
You'd have to think so. You'd have to think so. And they state on the blog, as far as they're aware, he is the only child in the world who's ever had Jacobson syndrome, as well as being diagnosed with neuroblastoma. But, the thing is, the power of the human spirit is, it's mightier than anybody could possibly realize, especially with young kids. It's incredible. And not just from their end, with them dealing with this, but also from our end in terms of being able to reach out and make donations. We're joined by Davey from Over and Over once again. Davey, hail.
Hail, mate. All right, Rev.
All right.
Just to say, mate, I've just come back. I nipped out earlier. So I'm just back in. I've got my cutting about the house trousers on, So I'll after showing that, I'll donate another tenner.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic stuff, pal. Really appreciate it.
Mate, he's doing a great thing. I know you're saying, it's a train wreck and all the rest of it. But mate, before 3:00 this afternoon, there was X amount donated to Wee Oscar. By the time you finish, there'll be a few £100 more. So regardless of how as a broadcaster, you think it's going, it's irrelevant, mate.
Exactly.
You're doing a great thing, the two of you. So well done, and well done to everybody that called in. It was good to see Parrot phoning back in there as well. I just want to ask, what do you think? I haven't spoken to you for a wee while. What about the Champions League draw and linking it in to with Key being out the way, our next best sort of European style player, Samaras, been injured?
Yeah, 3 excellent points there. I'll start with the Key dynamic with this, as well as Samaras going out and their utility, especially in these European ties, and then especially given the opponents that we're going up against. Yes, Barcelona, I mean, please, I'm not expecting really anything out of that, aside from when they come to Fortress Parkhead, which is, all bets are off. They're going to get absolutely scalped. But Benfica, the Portuguese side, they tend to leave a bit more space in between the midfield bank of 4 and their back line. Their back line tends to sit a bit deeper. With that, there's going to be opportunities to have maybe another second or two on the ball, which Key, I think, really flourishes under. When he has that extra time, he can pick a pass like nobody's business. Before we sold him, I would peg him as our best passer. But when he gets under pressure, as we see consistently in the SPL, he tends to opt for either a sideways pass or a backwards pass more often than not. He really
definitely, mate. I always said that I thought him and Paddy were the best two for a range of passing in our squad. But I've always said that Key would do really, really well in either the Italian in Serie A or La Liga, where midfielders tend to get a bit more time to pick their pass.
Exactly, and there's a slower build-up as well, and that could be especially useful for us if we were in that position and Key was still with us. Now, with that being said, I don't think that it's a good, long-term, sustainable situation for either Key or Celtic. From the standpoint that, like you mentioned, Key is now going to, yes, he's going to be playing at Swansea with Laudrup there, who is continuing that silky sort of football mentality, which I think Key can flourish under. He might, in order to cope in the EPL, he might need to bulk up just a bit more and resist getting pushed off the ball like we saw consistently in the SPL. But nonetheless, he's going to have the opportunity now to develop further than he would have the opportunity to do if he would have stayed at Celtic. Plus, let's not kid ourselves. This was good business on the part of Peter Lawwell. And I praised Peter Lawwell a couple times this week, and I think a lot of people fell off their chairs. But it's not a personal deal with me and Peter Lawwell. I think he's a fantastic guy, probably personally. I mean, I had a conversation with him, and he seemed pleasant enough. But this was fantastic business that was done. We bought him for just under £2 million, I think, and we sold him on for all reports are right around $6 million. That's good business.
I think six plus add-ons. I think I was sort of pushing previously. I must admit, on the Green Brigade forum, that's the only forum I go on. I was previously pushing for, if it was an English team, I was saying 10 million in their market. But I was thinking that he'd another year more on his contract than he actually did, if you know what I mean?
Yep.
So obviously that's going to bring it down. So yeah, it's definitely good business, definitely.
Exactly. Now, in terms of who we have to replace him, obviously young Tvardzik, sorry, Snake Plissken's going to call in and give me a beating if I don't pronounce that right, but it's Tvardzik. He's a young player coming into his own, sort of trying to feel his way through playing a feature role with the starting 11, if you will. There's going to be ups and downs with that, and certainly he had more of a down, in this past tie against Edinburgh Hibernian.
It was fine. It was at the game last week, mate. It was totally fine when Big Victor was beside him, because obviously Victor's young as well, but he's just a level above about any youngster I've seen.
And he's a steadying presence. When he's next to you and you don't quite have that physical makeup, and he's sort of protecting you, and he's going to go and bash, that frees Twardzik up to do where I think his strong suit is, and that's looking up the park, trying to pick out passes. That's the thing that excites me most about Twardzik. Where we saw with Key, like I mentioned before, his tendency would be maybe a sideways pass or even pass it back. Twardzik is always looking up the pitch. You saw it the previous week against Inverness, setting up Tony Watt's goal. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. every pass that he's looking to pick out when he gets under pressure is forward, which is naturally going to increase the tempo, which is something that, when we get into a rut, the tempo starts to slow down. I like to see us much more quick in the transition and ask questions of defenders that we're going to come up against. Now, you also mentioned Samaras. I think that's going to be a huge loss for us for the same reasons, but in a slightly different sort of dynamic. Because Sammy, as we saw going up against Atletico Madrid, Rennes, and even Udinese, those opponents set up quite nicely for Sammy because, again, bit of a slower build-up. Maybe not so much from Rennes, but certainly Atletico Madrid and Udinese, a slower build. There's going to be space for him to exploit down that left-hand flank. And when he gets the ball in open space, he's not the quickest, with his first step, and he's not the best technically in traffic, but at full speed, coming right out of a fullback, absolutely terrifying. Fingers crossed that he's not going to be out for too long because we are really going to need him.
Especially with with Udinese and more actually, especially Italian, but more and more European teams reverting to a 3-5-2 as Udinese play.
Exactly.
There's loads of space for Sammy, and as you say, once he gets going, it's very difficult to stop. Actually, it's mentioned on the forum this morning. I'm hoping. I think the lad that we signed, Lassad Nui, I've only seen clips of him in wee bits, but to me, the way that he moves reminds me of Sammy. So I could actually see him in a. If we play a sort of a tight three in midfield and a three up front, I could see him playing one of the wide positions and either Hooper or Miku in the central position. So I think he moves a bit like Sammy at times, and he could easily play, say, wide left and cut in or whatever.
Exactly. That's what I'm interested. The first examination of Nui is going to be, I guess we'll probably wind up calling him Lassad eventually, but my first evaluation of Lassad is going to be how is he with the ball at his feet. Now he hasn't gotten glowing reviews in terms of his technical ability or even his finishing ability, but constantly you see the commentary on him is he's a physical presence, he's not going to get pushed off the ball, and he distributes quite well, which is going to be very, very useful. I could see even, like you mentioned, cutting in off that left-hand side, if we need to go to a more aerial option, if we're going to go up against players or teams rather that are going to pack the box and just crunch 10 players in, compress the midfield there. If we need to go aerial, that's going to be a good outlet for us. It's almost the sort of role that everybody hoped Sammy would sort of morph into and hasn't done. And quite frankly, let's be honest, it's never going to happen. But if Lassad can present that opportunity, being maybe a bit more technically gifted Daryl Murphy, and be able to free up. To be able to free up space for a Gary Hooper or even a Miku, I think that's going to be exceptional. It's going to be interesting to see how these signings bed in and how they react to playing in Scotland. Because let's be honest, coming from La Liga or even the Segunda Division, it's going to be an adjustment. So it's going to be very interesting. But I have high hopes for F.A. Ambrose as well. Now, you mentioned also the thoughts on the group stage. I'm delighted with it. My neighbor across the street, big Man U fan, total glory hunter. He's like, whoa, let's talk about the draw. I'm delighted with it. He's like, well, Barcelona. Well, okay, fine. We only need to finish in the top two. And let's not kid ourselves here. Barcelona will win the group. Barring any sort of onslaught of catastrophic injuries, even still, it's not even worth discussing that. It's just worth, let's see how the players react to going up against, no question about it, the best players in the world. That's going to be really a learning opportunity and an investigation. But let's examine our other two opponents. Like I mentioned before, Benfica. I think that they play into our strong suits. Yes, they are absolutely. That's a dynamic side. It's a dangerous side. Cardozo. They're sort of tip of the spear sort of striker. Very, very dangerous striker. Very clinical. And our defenders, our back four especially, are going to have to mark him and just essentially put them in their pocket, much the same way they did with Falcao. Now, to a certain extent, I think that they dealt with Falcao as well as could be expected considering the circumstances. I'm expecting them to raise their game and be able to deal with that onslaught. It's also going to be a situation, though, where Benfica have lost some of their most dynamic players.
I was going to say that, mate. We've mentioned our three outfield players that we signed. I think Man City did us the biggest favour in the transfer window, signing Garcia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you saw Zenit picking up Axel Witsel for just an obscene amount of money. So they're going to be, let's be honest, they've lost a lot of their firepower, but they do have plenty in reserve. They wouldn't have made these transactions unless they didn't. That's exactly the type of model that Celtic needs to apply going forward. But nonetheless, I think that the opportunity is there, especially at home at Celtic Park. I love the fact that we have them at home as our first game. Hopefully next weekend we can build some momentum away at McDermott Park, get some of our feature starting 11 back and fit, and get them playing a bit, because we're going to need them. We're going to rely on them, especially with Sammy being out. I also think Spartak Moscow, especially considering their season's going to be ending here coming up in November, we have them at home on the tail end. I think that's really going to be the make or break game in a lot of ways. For many of those players, it would have been a month since the last time that they had played, so that works in our favor as well. I'm delighted with the group.
I think as well, and just briefly mention the Spartak game, considering that Izzy isn't the best defensive fullback, I think it's going to be really interesting, him against Aiden.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be a very interesting story, interesting dynamic. Interesting to see how the Celtic Park crowd welcomes Aiden. I think it's going to be warm. I think there's going to be a good reaction. So, especially with the comments that Aiden's made recently, about his affinity to Celtic and, so on and so forth. I mean, he needed to...
I think in football, that for a while, there was a sort of a dynamic that anybody that left you when they returned, they get a poor reception. I don't just mean Celtic, just in general. Anybody that left you if they returned, they get a poor reception. Aidan was with us for, must have been over 10 years probably, and it was quite often plan A was get the ball to Aidan, plan B was try and get the ball to Aidan, plan C was we'll see what we can do if Aidan's not on the game. And he's a massive Celtic fan, so I'd be devastated if he didn't get I'm not talking about during the game, but before the game, if he didn't get a great reception.
No question about it. Davey, thanks so much for calling back and getting in touch. We got some more people that want to get on, so
good stuff.
We're right up against it. But thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and
cheers, boys.
We'll catch up with you soon. Hell.
Good night. Bye.
Yep.
Bye.
Later.
Davey's good people. Now we also have on the line John Jeffrey. Thank you so much. You've been on the line waiting patiently for quite some time. Really appreciate that. Hell, thanks so much for calling in. What's on your mind, John?
I was just really calling in, to just congratulate you guys on what's happened this episode.
Rev, we've been had.
Have we been had?
I'm sure. I'm very sure.
That's not John Jaffrey. That's Josh Gaffney.
It was a little quiet. I'm like, we got like a kid calling in or something.
Yeah, and then I turned up the speakers, and then you went in full blast. Hello, Josh.
Hello. John Joffrey.
What's your thoughts on? See, now I don't feel bad for making you wait all that time. What's your thoughts on Aiden McGeady coming back to Celtic Park and the reception? You think? He's going to be well received, no doubt. Wouldn't you say?
I think he'll get a good reception. I don't think he'll get the same sort of reception Larson did. Although Larson did score a goal against us, and he still got a good reception. But I can't expect the crowd to kind of cheer him when he's passing by, and like cheering at the start of the game, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I think that, obviously, it's hard to compare anything, both on and off the pitch, with Henrik Larsson. It's such a unique situation with good reason for obvious reasons, but I think there's going to be a similar sort of dynamic. Especially, Aiden has done himself a lot of favors in that respect in his comments to the press as of late, talking about his affinity for Celtic, talking about how he still follows Celtic, and he's a lifelong fan, and that never leaves him, so I think that, yes, there's probably people who, were Aiden McGeady haters, and, we won't mention any names with that, Harry Brady, but, there's not much that you can do to change people's perspectives or minds, who already have that in their thinking. I just hope that there isn't a sort of backlash, as Davey was describing, with players that go elsewhere. I mean, this isn't a Robin van Persie sort of situation where Aiden McGeady goes to one of their rivals. I guess you could call Arsenal and Man U rivals, although no offense to the Gooners, but Arsenal isn't. They're not trying for trophies, but it's just a different dynamic. I think most sort of rational thinking Celtic supporters understand that he needed to make the move at that time. He was a bit stuck in his development in terms of his attitude, in terms of just sort of technical demands, I guess, on his game. It was good business at the time. Celtic needed to do that. Celtic needed, as Neil Lennon has described, Celtic needed major surgery. And the sale of Aiden McGeady really funded this latest consummation of Celtic. These players that we see and we love on a weekly basis, were funded by Aiden McGeady. So it's another way of looking at it. It needed to happen from both sides, but the affinity is always there, no matter what. So it's going to be interesting. I'm actually. I'll make a confession. I'm trying to get over for that game in December. I may have some vacation that will open up, and I might just bite the bullet and just put it all on the credit card and sort of ask questions later about it. But that would be absolutely phenomenal. The Electric Knights at Celtic Park, Champions League, they're here again. As you described, in the Paradise preview from a couple weeks back, your experience in going to the Helsingborgs game. I mean, it's a completely different electric atmosphere. I mean, even the Rev and I not going there, not being there and experiencing it, you can still tell such a difference. And then obviously with the Hibs game, it was much different, but unfortunately on a lesser scale. But what's your thoughts for next week, McDermott Park? We're still going to have players that are going to be out injured, and there's going to be question marks with. This is the thing that worries me. Joe Ledley. I don't see him returning in time for Benfica. Kyle, pretty much the same. I don't see him returning in time for the Benfica tie. These are big misses. Hopefully Wanyama, he had the dead leg last week. Hopefully, with the rest that he's enduring, at this point, hopefully he can come back and be fully fit, because for me, he's the most important player in the side just now. And then, of course, the defensive partnership. How are we going to line that up? Let me ask you this, Josh. F.A. Ambrose, he comes in. He's played some so far, so he should be fit. Do you put him in straight away at St. Johnson, McDermott Park, or do you just sort of let him bed in first?
Well, I think it depends on the fitness of the squad. I'm not sure how fit Charlie Mulgrew is, because obviously he pulled out the Scotland squad.
Yeah.
I think Vronga will be fine. Kevin Wilson, he might be fine. I would maybe consider bringing them on second half, because St Johnstone, they can be a tricky tie here and there. St Johnstone's actually more tricky when we play them at Celtic Park, because usually they just pack the box.
As evidenced by the 2-0 defeat to them at Celtic Park last August. Good point.
Yeah. We're at home, usually we can get a little bit more space behind them, but they are still quite a hard side to score against. I might be concerned bringing him on second half. I think it really just depends on his mark sharpness.
Yeah, and again, I think that he's played some for his club in Israel and the run into the deal that we made. So I think he's fully fit. I think he's ready to go. I wouldn't have any problem kicking the tires and seeing what we got with him, because I'm excited. I think that he has the looks of a really exciting player. Rev, what do you think? Do we throw Ambrose out there straight away? And then what about Miku? We're very thin at striker just now. Gary Hooper, whether he's carrying a knock or maybe just hasn't found his form just yet, is not the Gary Hooper that we've come to lean on. Do you put Miku in the squad straight away?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. What else would we do in place? We'd play the youngsters and potentially burn them out before they're ready to play, and at a maturity level, not technically or skill, but just a mental maturity level. You don't want to get them, with fans booing last week, something like that, and ruin their development, maturity. So, I mean, if this is what we got, sure, play the pieces. I mean, how bad can it be? and then that'll get them ready, hopefully playing with the team in time for the Champions League.
You don't want to burn out the kids, 'cause they're fragile. They're just developing. Why did you even buy Ambrose if you won't play him? And Miku. Josh, you're very good at analyzing the strengths and weaknesses of sides and individual players. What have you learned so far about Lasad? Obviously, we know his last name is Nui Nui. We'll probably, hopefully, not have to go there too much. Let's just call him Lasad. What have you learned about Lasad so far that could be useful for the side? To me, he seems more of a target man than we've had since Big Jan is here. It doesn't seem like he has quite the nose for goal that Vinegar of Hesselink had, but nonetheless, we haven't had anything even of the sort, bar Daryl Murphy, since then. What else have you learned about him?
Well, I learned that last season he played in the second division of the Spanish League, I'm quite sure. And he had a good strike rate there. His strike rate before that wasn't amazing, but as far as I do know, he has a very strong play. He's got a very big presence. I think as long as he can, if he's good in the air, like people say, Samaras is good in the air. It can nod it on at times, but when you put him in the box, he's never really like leaping on for a header or looking for the cross. He's always like out wide.
Exactly.
So if Lasad's that type of player that can just stick around the penalty, stick around inside the penalty box, look for any cross that's coming in, and just have the instinct to really get above his man and just head it towards goal or head it on for someone.
He can get above his man and flick it on, or distribute. That's just awful.
But as far as I know, he's not played too many games in the last 2 seasons. So I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to jump straight into the squad. Yeah, especially since he's not played since May, because he's not been in our team.
Yeah, that's good to know. That's an excellent point. I mean, I can't see any way that certainly he's not going to play in any of the Champions League ties. You can't count on that. I mean, bar maybe like an 88th minute substitution when we're beating Barcelona 5-0, but other than that, I don't see him featuring. But he could be quite useful for maybe some of those away ties, away to Motherwell in the late fall or early winter, as we have witnessed repeatedly. It is always a tough place to play, especially if we have another harsh winter. I say we, but if you and Scotland there have another harsh winter, that place turns into Redondo Beach, and trying to keep the ball on the floor is just not an option. Having a physical type player who's going to be able to resist and sort of not get pushed off the ball like you consistently see from just the pile of wank that is the Motherwell defense, and they get away with it too. We need the type of player that's going to be strong and is not going to complain for fouls that they're never going to get. We need a basher, like the Parrot said in the chat room. Victor the Snowplow. He is that's a good moniker for it. I like that, Victor the Snowplow. But you don't call them snowplows over there, do you, Josh? You call them, John. You call them, what do you call them, gritters?
Well, you get gritters and you get snowplows. You get snowplows on gritters. It's a hybrid.
Oh, okay. So it's like, a hybrid. As I just said that like the most American accent ever. You guys have gritters over there, don't you, man? They're awesome. Yeah, how do you say it? Gritter. So it's a gritter.
What's the difference?
No, a gritter is like what we would call like a salt truck.
Oh, okay.
I guess they use salt or maybe sand or something to put it down, and then it makes it gritty. So it's a gritter.
And a little thing about Miku, he's been on international duty with Venezuela. playing against Peru and someone else from Southern America. So I don't think he'll be starting against Johnson after doing a lot of traveling.
How has he looked so far with the Venezuelan side? I mean, we've seen all sorts of Pepsi commercials that are being shown locally in Caracas.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he's a big deal, in Venezuela. And the Venezuelan national side, I mean, you don't hear much about them because they're in CONMEBOL. I mean, an absolute wealth of footballing talent. But they have an excellent side with a lot of players in that national team that play throughout Europe, most notably in Spain. Has he done well? You mentioned they played against Peru.
Yeah, they played against Peru. They played against Peru last night, and they are playing against Paraguay on the 11th, so Tuesday.
Oh, lovely.
As far as I know, he didn't score a goal against Peru. I'm not sure what the exact score was, but I think I've actually seen him before playing for Venezuela. I think it was it 2012, 2010 World Cup?
Yeah.
And it looked like a very good attacking side with some physical presence up front. So it could have been Fedor up front that's playing in some of the games.
Yeah, fantastic.
Other than that, I've only really seen high YouTube clips.
And an interesting anecdote, sort of, with regard to that, he goes by Miku. His last name, Fedor, in Spanish, I think is loosely translated as stink. I'm 100% serious with that. It's a Hungarian surname. Obviously, if for those who have read his bio and his background, his parents, or I guess his grandparents, had emigrated from Hungary. When the Schwarzenstuckers invaded, and went to Venezuela. So that's a Hungarian surname, Fedor, but translated into Spanish, it means stench. So hopefully he won't be stenchy for us. He'll just be Miku. He'll be meek-tastic.
I thought he had a bit of my jar to him.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. Listen, Josh, John, whatever your name is, thanks so much for calling in, and we'll catch up with you this week for the Paradise preview. We'll get going with that again, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Hail. Me, John, Geoffrey, it was good to be on, and hopefully you donate another £10 to charity.
Yeah, fantastic. John Jaffrey, getting in touch. All right, see you, pal.
See you.
That's our first crank call. Well played, Josh Gaffney. We have another caller that's trying to get in touch and not having much success, so we'll try and get them back. It's a guest who, there he goes again. He needs to get his Skype sorted. Get on a decent connection. That would be my suggestion. Maybe we'll get a couple seconds before he crashes out again. He's probably trying to call in from his phone, hanging out the window, driving through the streets of Toronto.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Jesus, I'm hanging out my window.
What happened last week? He
kept butt-dialing me, I think.
He butt-dialed you, and then about an hour after the show, I had 2 calls from him.
Yeah, he was calling, I think, the line that we had open from the show. I don't know if he meant to, and he's been saying he wanted to give me a call to go over some things, for the longest, and,
right.
He doesn't call. I don't know why.
He's too busy flying Air Deco.
It's true. Well, you just gave it away. I think he's restarting his phone. He just dropped off. Maybe he'll come back. We'll hang out for a minute. Let me see what we got. So this is a pretty decent effort, I think, for us, Rev. What are we at now?
Technically, we are at. Let me add more for Joe Josh's call.
Okay, and then we had 10 more from Davey. Did you get that?
Right.
Yeah.
We are at. Technically, if we include Davey and Paul's donations and the auction and all that, we technically are over 500. As it stands, though, we don't want to do this technically. We want to make that the add-on. We're at 455.
So 455. Now, does that include? Hang on 1 second. Let me just check something.
That includes hours.
So that includes hours. Does that include the sort of creative accounting that we're doing for Paul's?
No.
Oh, so that's just Paul with the £20 donation.
Oh, he had just a £20 donation. I didn't have that.
I think. Let me just double check. Let me get his email because it was something like.
I thought he was saying 20 pounds for every one of us that donate.
That's right. Okay, so it'll be 20. Considering it was just me and you. So he's in for. So put him down for 20.
Put him down for 20. Yeah. Okay.
We're not in the business of
So then we're matching his 20 with 10.
Yeah, we'll match his 20 with 10 as well.
All right, so that brings the total of the donations to 310. That brings our total to 165.
Oh, Jesus.
And so that should be 475. I mean, I'm going to put this on the calculator in a second, but off the top of my head, that's what it should look like.
Fantastic. All right, well, we have
165.
We have another valiant effort. Hopefully this time it's going to work. It sounds pretty good so far. Joining us all the way from Aurora, the president of the Aurora, the president of the Aurora Celtic Supporters Club. He has his own airline. He is his own airline. It's Deco from Dublin. How are you, pal?
Crack boys, he's all right.
Yeah, we're doing fine. I was just thinking about you, pal, because I had some Jehovah's Witnesses knock on the door while we were doing the show. I took a break. I answered the door. I didn't know there were Jehovah's Witnesses there. And we started having a conversation. I was trying to get them on the show to like maybe do an interview live on the show, but they weren't having any of it. I was thinking, we could introduce them to you and just expand all sorts of horizons for them.
You are off your effing rocker. You know that you are mad as a hatter. Come here to me. I haven't. I've been in school all morning as I've gone back to school on the weekend, so I haven't heard any of the show. But I know it's a telethon, so I just want. They're having a quick smoke break. I thought I'd give a quick call, say hello. Nothing really to talk about, but I want to throw a few dollars in the pot as well. But sure, we'll figure that out later on.
Fantastic.
I'll give you a buzz back later. It's wonderful what you're doing for Wee Oscar, and hopefully we might be able to do a few other little things in the next couple of weeks and try and make as much money for the wee man as we can.
Fantastic stuff. Thanks so much, Deco. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day in school. Good man. And
now before I go on, I tried to get a hold of you, and I got through for about 2 or 3 seconds, so I probably called you about 10 times. Does that count as 10 calls or no?
No.
I'm a cheeky bazza, eh?
We need to have an engaging conversation, which we have.
Jesus, you're not getting one of them from me, are you?
Oh, Deco, you are a prince. No, you're a prince. The parrot has it absolutely nailed down. We definitely appreciate you, and I need to catch up with you offline as well.
No worries. I tell you what, I need to get back in and start putting my head in a Canadian electrical code book, which sounds really blissfully exciting. I can't wait.
Listen, Deco, sort out these Canadians, all right? Please give them some of the wisdom of Ireland and get them on the right track, all right?
Canada's doing all right at the moment. I'm not so sure about home. They don't need any wisdom from me.
Yeah, we don't need any wisdom down here either because we're doing pretty shit ourselves. But thanks for calling in, pal.
Go on, boys. Hell. I'll talk to you during the week. All right, good luck.
All right, pal. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Deco.
Let me ask you a question, because I think I was doing the tally here wrong. Are we donating?
We're donating a $5 for every call.
That's it. Okay. Then I have to redo this. I thought we were donating half for every call.
No, just
okay.
No,
so
Jesus,
then we might be a little bit less, because I guess when you said
no wonder you're bankrupt than me.
You just literally meant just 5 per call.
The suggestion was, like David Murray. Okay, we'll start from the beginning. David Murray said for every $5 we spend, he's going to spend a $10. Well, obviously, I'm not going to do that in reverse because I'll go bankrupt myself. Right. But I figured we'd do a play on words. For every $10 that you would donate, we'll pitch in a $5. And we're not collecting any of the funds. We're just asking folks to go to oscarknox.blogspot.com, make a donation there. It's right there. The button's on the right-hand side, easy as could be imagined, through PayPal. We're just suggesting that people throw in a $10, but they can throw in whatever they'd like. We've had donations of £40 from Joe earlier. We've had £30 donations. We had a £50 donation. So
we had 2 50-pound donations.
We had 2 50-pound donations.
Dollars, Aussie. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Listen, it's all currency. It all counts.
Right.
It all helps. But
right.
so we'll throw in a $5, for every one of them. That way, my wife doesn't leave me.
All right, so here, all right, we're a bit less then. It's we've had 19 calls.
We had 19 calls.
19 calls. So 310 over the 19 calls, and so then we're at 105 on our end. So we're at 415 total, not including Paul and not including the Phil's auction book.
Okay.
So at 415 total.
Rev, I think that was a good. Account. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. For a couple hours of acting like a jackass.
Pretty much.
I
get raising money for shit that we do anyway.
Exactly.
Really.
Exactly. That's exactly what my plan was. There's no game. What the hell are we going to talk about? Blah, blah, blah. Well, let's just do this, and yeah, it's probably not going to be brilliant radio, and people are going to listen back to this in the podcast, and it's going to be absolutely awful. But again, this show is not a podcast by nature. I mean, it's in podcast form where you can listen back if you didn't listen live, but the show is tailored for the live listener.
Right. You mean this episode in particular?
Well, all of them. It's a live show. People say, well, you're obsessed with Lawwell and X, Y, and Z. You know what? Emotions run high right after the game.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is just a place to sort of vent when you need to vent. Now, speaking of which, as I mentioned before, I had some nice things to say about Lawwell this week, and rightfully so. I single him out because he is at the top of the lightning rod. He is in charge. He needs to be the one taking the accountability. I have no sympathy for him, and neither should anybody. The buck stops with him, quite literally many times. But where I want to sort of big up him is with regard to, yes, we've complained about season ticket prices getting raised in light of the economic climate and everything elsewhere, otherwise within Scottish football. But the prices for the Champions League tickets, which I believe were £82 for season book holders, or something. I mean, it was very reasonable, the price that they put out there. I think that's fantastic. I think that's a phenomenal gesture, not just in terms of making it more accessible to supporters, but also raising the profile of the club. I appreciate the fact that he understands the opportunity that we have with the Champions League, because there's going to be a spotlight on Celtic Park. On the east end of Glasgow, there is going to be a spotlight. We want that place packed to the gills with 63,000 rabid Celtic supporters that are going to be the best advertisement for the club that it has. That's the best marketing that the club has. So I applaud him for recognizing the fact that a packed stadium benefits the club on a long-term basis, not just short-term. It's not just a short-term money grab. So that's phenomenal. And then he also released, the club released ticket prices for the Wraith Rovers League Cup tie, which I believe is going to be September 25th. And if I'm not mistaken, that was £12 for a ticket for that, which is exceptional. That's exactly what needs to be happening. There's nothing we can do about season book prices just now. It's already out. But I appreciate the fact that he has made tickets in this way more reasonable, and I hope that he continues it. By making it more accessible and more available to more people, benefits the club in the long term. So, I can't applaud him enough for that. Long may it last. Well done, Peter Lawwell. You are an absolute hero.
I think someone needs to call in now and applaud your, not praising, but, your admittance to when, you're calling it like you see it, and someone should applaud by calling in and making a donation in that honor.
The Parrot's joined us again. Parrot, what do you make all this nonsense? Now all of a sudden I'm praising Peter Lawwell. What sort of blasphemous nonsense is this?
My timing's shite as usual. I'm not Team Lawwell, which G. It's just a thing after Phil donated the book. As you know, I just stick to the Mellow Birds now, and I retired a few months ago. I'd like to donate for auction. I've got it here in the house, so if anybody from the book launch or the next book launch wants it, or it can be delivered in Glasgow, I've got a bottle of Purser's rum from the actual factory in Tortola.
Oh, nice.
It retails in the UK for about £35. So if anybody makes me a bid, minimum £15, maximum anything up from it, they get the bottle. But more importantly, I'll actually give them a purser's mug, which has the recipe of the famous headbanger cocktail in it.
Ah, headbanger. See, the Rev would be a headbanger, but he has no hair.
So you can only really get these. I'll tweet you a picture of it. You can only get these from the actual factory. Obviously, the overseas charging is unbelievable. So yeah, just as a wee bit of goodwill for myself. So for the show. So yeah, a bottle of Purser's rum and it's a steel mug, so it's ideal for Paul's book lunch. You can drop it and it's not going to smash anywhere.
That's smart
thinking. Don't put coffee in it. Don't put mellow birds in it. It'll scold your mouth. But yeah. Yeah, if anybody wants to bid for it, Big Davy, I know Big Davy likes a refreshment. The bottle's there for them, lads.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Maybe we can get it up on eBay for an auction. I don't know if eBay, can you do alcohol? Do they allow that? I don't know. We'll sort it out. We can talk after.
Yeah, it'd probably be better if it was just the guys, if it was from Glasgow or anything, because trying to pack a rum will be a bit dodgy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Maybe we can leave it open for the next week. If you want to get in touch with Stephen on Twitter at MACHRIE72 and just put your bid in there. You can send us your bid at BTW Celtic Show to win the bottle of rum, which would be absolutely phenomenal. We'll be headbanging before you know it. Fantastic. Thank you so much for.
Or they can have like another one, but it's got the rag of the crown in it, since it's like a naval tradition drink. I don't know. They got me a bottle of it when I retired, knowing I didn't drink anymore. I don't know why. Probably to tease me. So it's better out the parrot's lair and in some good alcoholic's mouth, sort of thing.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you so much. And we'll get that together and we'll get the information out there so we can make some good alcohol enthusiast happy. We can donate some money, and we appreciate you stepping up with that.
Yeah, no problem at all, lads. Enjoy the rest of the show, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Bye-bye.
Cheers, pal. We'll talk to you soon. Stephen Monahan, the caretaker, I guess, if you will, of the Parrot, Vincent the Parrot. And fantastic, great friend of the show. We really appreciate it. Again, OscarKnox.blogspot.com. You can go there. You can make a donation. You can make a difference. We're having now all of a sudden we're getting the late shift in. We're getting the push right into the home stretch. Now we're joined again by Davey from the Over and Over Show. Hail, Davey.
Oh, hey boys, how's it going?
Yeah, not bad. We're up to close to our goal, which is 500.
Superb. As I said, regard any clown that waits to Monday, Tuesday to listen to this, obviously they'll enjoy it. The key thing is the money for the wee man.
Exactly.
Your man there was on. I'll bid 50 quid. I don't normally, as you know, boys, I don't normally drink. I'll bid 50 quid for that bottle of that grog of rum.
Rev, put it down. We got a bid already for the rum. It's going to be fantastic. We can make headbangers or dark and stormies. That's my my typical.
So I stay in England, but I'll say to the parents, there'll be no packaging costs. I'll come up and meet them in Glasgow if that 50 quid remains the winner.
That's fantastic.
But I'll go for it. Couple of 1 point and 1 question, mate.
Sure thing.
First point. A lot of talk over here at the minute about Brunei and just keeping them fit for Champions League games.
Yeah.
And I've said that it's fine keeping somebody fit, but there's a massive difference to me, especially with somebody like him, being fit and being match sharp. That's the first point. I'd like to hear your opinion on that. And secondly, mate, because I haven't really spoken to Rev that much over sort of the last year or whatever, I'd just be interested to know how he got into Celtic. Was it a family thing? Was it whatever? I'm just interested, really.
Rev, you want to take that first?
Yeah, sure. I was actually, not always, but I was kind of anti-soccer, just growing up in the U.S. Right. It was baseball, hockey, football, that was my thing. And
can I just sorry, mate? Can I just jump in there? Is it not as far as I know, did it not used to be the case that up to the sort of age of 14, soccer was one of the biggest participation sports?
Yeah, it still is, really. I mean, that's why I never played growing up. I played baseball and basketball. But yeah, that's pretty much, and that's part of why, because there was that stereotype with like soccer moms and stuff like that. So I was kind of against that. I gave it a try around 2000, wasn't really feeling it. You know, the local, you know, at that time it was the New York Metro Stars.
Oh God.
And then a few years later, after, you know, I was a big, massive Yankees fan. Once they started doing crappy, lost to the Red Sox. You know, Red Sox won the World Series in 2004. So that's when I started looking. I'm like, all right, what's another summer sport that I can get into? Tried to check out soccer again, the Metro Stars, and then I got into that. Actually went to a game. You know, they had the separate section behind the goal for supporters that I was sitting in midfield, and I'm like, that's where I want to be. That's what I want to do. So that
he's a hooligan, mate.
That got my foot in the door for the sport, and then come winter, you know, since it's March to November stateside. So come winter, I'm like, all right, I need something else. I need a European team. I was always a little bit partial to West Ham before I was into the sport, because I listen, Cockney Rejects and everything. That's
them's just got claws, mate, and fangs. Come at me if you think you're hot enough. I got a stab wound in my thigh.
Jesus.
So yeah, so there was that. But I'm like, all right, I still to this day I have an appreciation and an affinity for them. But then I'm like, I need something. I didn't really identify with West Ham. So then I, did a bit of research, and that's, long story short, that's what brought me to Celtic.
You've made a wise choice. You've made a wise choice, my man. And look at you. Now you're on a worldwide podcast, and you're driving around in a minivan. You didn't like the soccer mom thing. Now you're a soccer mom. Fantastic. Good for you. Good for you, Rev.
I plan on being a soccer dad whenever I have little kids, sure.
Absolutely. Running all across the touchline with his shiny bald head. You know what? Coming to the soccer pitch near you very soon will be the Rev prowling the touchline and abusing the coaches of the Pee-wee and youth soccer. Rev, go ahead. Get the hooligan out. Give them abuse.
But I was just gonna add my first real season as a Celtic supporter. Just because over here it was hard. You had to get dodgy, crappy streams.
Aye.
And or just reading after the game. So I think tracking the second year of the three-peat was my first year as a supporter. So that was 2007, 2006.
2007, 2008.
Something like that.
Yeah, that was the
year before the Lisbon Lions 40th anniversary jersey. The year before.
Well, that was 06, 07.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Was that the Roy Keane year when we purchased Roy Keane and I believe Dion Dublin? Really splashed the cash. Anyway, it's fantastic and
that's good to hear, mate. And the other point I made, Graham, about Brown.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, because, I mean, not everybody could, I suppose, but I'm also linking it to the fact that I feel, I know obviously I go on about Paddy a lot, but in realistic terms, to me, the first name, if all our players were fit, the first name on my team sheet would be Joe Ledley.
I'd agree with that. Here's my take on it. I'm really glad that you brought that up. And if we were going to have an actual proper show this week, just focusing on Celtic, and aside from this would take up a big chunk of my agenda that I'd want to talk about, because it's very, very... It's tumultuous, it's very important, and it's a tough, very difficult decision to make. Because first off, the background, I've developed an appreciation for Scott Brown as of late. In terms of I've always been a critic of his, in terms of his positional discipline. He always seems to be out of position, trying to recover, a bit slow to do that. Doesn't really, in certain circumstances, doesn't really defend well. Doesn't do a fantastic job of handing off players to the defenders. With that being said, he does carry with him an incredible amount of energy. I mean, the engine on him, and it never stops. He's got tremendous passion, for the club, and exactly, and hearing Neil Lennon describe him, and the reason why he has such affinity for him, I think that really straightened out my thinking. Where Neil Lennon referred to when he played against him, when Scott Brown was still with Edinburgh Hibernian, or as the Americans like to say, Hibernian. When he was playing against him, he said it was an absolute nightmare going against him because he's always there. He's never leaves your face. He's always going to frustrate things and bust things up. That's a very valuable function in any side. And I started to look at what he delivered in a slightly different way. Now, it's become very remarkable in the beginning of the season and even in the preseason. During his absence, there's a different feeling about the team. There's a different energy. There's a different urgency. That's why he got the captain's armband, and that's the effect that he's had. I think that he's really developed. Lots of questions on the front end of his captaincy, I guess, but he's really grown into being a quintessential proper Celtic captain. Now, with that being said, we are at the situation we are in. He has a degenerative. It's very, very serious. Degenerative hip injury that eventually will require surgery. Now, my personal take on this is you highlighted it, I think, quite well. It's a compromise between, do we play him when he's not at his best and take from that whatever we would get, or do we shut him down and get him 100% right, which would likely be a year-long process just until he can train again. We're talking about Scott Brown then being about 28 years of age. I think maybe 6 months after that would be a proper recovery time. I mean, we're looking at, maybe Scott Brown not really featuring in this side for another season and a half. Now, I think his absence would be dearly, dearly missed, and I think that particular function, although we are deep at that central midfield position just now, I think that the only player that really could fulfill that function going forward would be Baram Kayal. Now, Baram Kayal has taken a lot of criticism as of late, and in certain circumstances, very, very well justified. He's had injury issues. I've described them myself as a yellow card waiting to happen, but he provides a lot of that same passion and energy that I think is quite useful to the side. Will it match the sort of level that Scott Brown does? We'll have to wait and see. Personally, what I would do, I would shut Scott Brown down now. I mean, it's in the best interest of his career, for what's left of his career going forward. I think that we could do far more damage by trying to maybe rest him just for the Champions League ties, where he's not going to play quite as much. Well, when he doesn't play quite as much, his form dips. And when your form dips, you don't quite have that reaction time, that instinctive presence out there. There's more thought going into it. You're slower to get to certain places. And sometimes your mind is telling your body to do things that your body just can't do. And that can exacerbate injuries. That can make injuries even worse. So I'm sort of looking at it in an abundance of prudence. If it were me, I'd shut him down. I'd have him get the surgery, and we'll take it on from there.
Definitely, I probably agree with you. I think the situation with you mentioned Kyle. I've actually, even last season, I criticised him, to be honest, because I felt I don't know if it was because of the passion he showed, but I thought last season he actually got too much, if you like, too much credit for Celtic fans. Last season was people saying about him and Aguirre, £10-12 million players. Aguirre is basically a poor defender at the minute, and Kyle last season, to me, in big games, too often was on the wrong side of the ball if he was meant to be a defensive midfielder. But definitely, to be honest, I would never, if I was a Celtic manager, I would never have Kyle and Brown in the same team.
I think it's redundant.
One or the other.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's redundant, in a lot of ways, and many of their shortcomings are very similar as well. And if they're both on if they're both in the mood to pick up stupid yellow cards, that compounds the problem by 2. So I think that I agree completely. I think that, you want to diversify that center of the midfield so that you have players that can do different things. You don't become too one-dimensional. That becomes much easier, especially for an inferior side to try and break down. We want to give our attacking players as many options as possible in terms of keeping the ball, in terms of getting the ball back, and then in terms of being distributed the ball. And then we want to do favors. I mean, the cog of the entire 11 is the center of the midfield. We want to do the defenders as many favors as possible by making smart, selective, good tackles, which I think Kyle can. I think that as he progresses and hopefully he can minimize the injuries, I think he's going to develop in sort of the art of the tackle and refining that skill, which I think is so overlooked these days with how many fouls are let up, especially in British football. But I can see him evolving and advancing and improving in terms of tackling.
Where he's probably get, to me, the sort of the defensive midfield position is a sort of very, very specialised position, which is why we saw the difference Saturday when Victor went off. Mm-hmm. But to me, and it has been at least, a very sort of a European position, but it's actually, to me, 2 of the best British components of that position in the last 15 years have been Lennon and Lambert. So if Kyle can't learn off Lennon, we've got something going on wrong,
Yeah, that's a great point. I would agree completely with that. I mean, who could forget the amazing performance that Neil Lennon had in the 6-2 game, where we beat Rangers?
Unbelievable. I don't know if Jason's listening, but
I couldn't resist.
You're an evil man.
I couldn't resist. Davey,
you're terrible, mate. Just before I go, mate, couple of points. See when you're talking about Jehovah's Witnesses.
I love where this is going.
When I was wee, it was actually Jehovah's Witnesses and also Mormons. When I didn't live in Glasgow, when I was wee, I lived in the west of Scotland, in Dunoon, and there was like an American submarine base there, so there was a lot of Americans about the town. And so quite often we get either Mormons or Jehovah's Witnesses coming to the door. My dad was a sort of strict Catholic, and but very intelligent, very well read.
Sure.
So he actually knew more about the Bible than them. So they would just give up coming to the door. She would just give him a lecture. But the other point, did you see you're maybe coming over in December?
Fingers crossed. I'm trying to sort that out just now, and that would be my goal at the moment.
Good stuff. Well, keep me in touch.
We'll do, because I definitely want to meet up with yourself and Halsey and be able to meet you in person. That'd be fantastic.
Excellent. I'm hoping to go over next summer to back to Canada. I was just wanting a quick word on a non-football event. When I was over in Canada, my cousin in Ontario runs a Ultimate Frisbee League, and I played it, and it was unbelievable. What a game.
That will wear you out.
Fun. That's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's superb.
Yeah, that will wear you out. So I've actually
brought it back. I don't know if you probably do know, but I'm a high school teacher, an England history teacher, but I do a bit of PE as well, so I introduced it, and the kids absolutely love it.
It is, because it's I mean, the Frisbee has like an associative sort of feeling to it. I mean, it's fun. Anybody can do it. You go out in the park, and there's just sort of no pressure to it. But if you just sort of ramp it up another notch, and then with the amount of running that you do, when playing that, I mean, it's even phenomenal to watch. It's very entertaining, and yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to shoot off and get my tea. So, but I'll keep listening. But fair play to you boys, as I said. So remember, 50 quid for that bottle of rum, and
put it down, Rev.
Good man.
Got it.
So keep it going, boys. Hail, hail.
Cheers, pal. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Davey.
Cheers.
Good man.
Another idea for Dave, if he wants to throw a alteration to frisbee, is frisbee golf.
Oh yeah. I was just gonna say that frisbee golf. Yeah.
It's it's basically, I mean, you can do it with a tire. We ghetto rigged it, but you get a big post, have something about the size of a tire, 15-inch opening, And same thing, you try to get it in. You know, you have it set up a little course and take shots, try to get it in, and then
Sounds fantastic. Well, Rev, what does that take us up to now?
Let me see here. Well, I didn't include the auction prices in the total as of yet, but between donations and us, we're at $415. If you throw in, I guess Dave is still keeping his thing for the book too, so that puts us at $515.
Fantastic. We did it. We did it, pal. We said, an hour ago, we said, 500. That's kind of a lot. Well, we did it, and hopefully this raises the sort of awareness that can continue on and hopefully help Wee Oscar and raise the awareness, get to their goal so that he can get the treatment that he needs. I think we need to wrap it up because my wife just returned and she's got loads of groceries, and if I don't help out, I am sleeping outside, which could be problematic because there's a tornado warning that's in Maryland just now, so I should probably batten down the hatches, as they say, but we should be safe. It's a bit far north of us, but nonetheless, Rev, thank you so much for joining me today. It was another 3-hour marathon. We just can't help it.
If you get a minute tomorrow or something, it's probably easier to Skype and talk it over, figure out how you want to do the actual auction for the book. So
yeah, exactly.
Hopefully, I don't want to bang Davey out of it, but if it raises more money, if other people bid.
Exactly. Yeah, no question.
We'll have that. I'll set it up. I don't know if you want to do it or I'll do it. I don't know if you do eBay. But
I don't. But if you do, and you have the sort of know-how to do that, then please, by all means, go ahead.
All right. Yeah, I'll set that up. I'll have it end. I don't know what time we'd be doing the show next weekend. We'll figure that out tomorrow.
Okay.
I guess and then we'll have it end maybe halfway through the show, and then we can announce the total from that and have a final tally of this, the telethon next week.
Perfect. That's a great idea as well, to set it up that way. We can announce the winner live on air, and, if you're just tuning in, what we're talking about here, a signed copy of Phil McGillivant's latest book. It's going to be the only one that he's signing. You heard it here, and when you listen back, he joined us earlier, mentioned that he doesn't do the book signing things and so on like that, but he will donate one signed book. This is it. It doesn't get any more rare than this, and the proceeds are all going to go to the Wee Oscar campaign. It's absolutely phenomenal. Thanks to Phil for that. Thanks to everyone who called. What do we have, 21 calls?
21, yeah.
21 calls. Thank you so much. Hopefully, for the folks that called in today, if it was your first time calling in, hopefully it's not going to be your last. And, please, just continue spreading the word about this campaign. It's very important. And, we will continue giving it, the exposure and the attention that it needs and deserves because, we need to help this young kid. It's not fair. He needs a chance, and he needs to get the treatment. So thank you so much to everyone who called in, who donated. Thanks to Steven for the rum. I'm sure that Davey or some other alcohol enthusiast is really going to enjoy that. And also thanks to Phil for the book as well. Rev, anything else?
Do you know what the total was, and if he's doing? I haven't gotten a chance to look at the proper website for him yet. Is he coming to Philly? Is that what they're looking to do, or are they staying over there?
I'm not sure. If they've sorted that out, because you're referring to, is he coming to Philly? Like Vanessa Riddle was originally going to come to Children's Hospital in Philadelphia. I think they elected instead to go to Germany for their treatment, and I'll have to get the information in terms of their plan. In terms of where they're going to go to get the treatment for neuroblastoma, etc. But it's not going to be the UK. Unfortunately, they don't have that. So
not even if you. I don't know. The ins and outs of their healthcare system. I barely know the ins and outs of ours, unfortunately. But I didn't know if that was something where if you still had the money to pay up front yourself.
No.
If they just don't do it, period.
No, it's without getting into a political sort of debate, everything is controlled by the government there. So right. It's the the treatment therapy and what is available and what is not set by the doctors themselves or researchers or the institutions themselves. So they don't have the opportunity to get that treatment in the UK. They do have it extensively in Germany as well as in the United States. Unfortunately, it's ridiculously expensive. But in situations like this, it's time, for us to step up and contribute whatever we can, and if we get a lot of people donating, just a few quid here or there, that adds up and gets us right where we need to be. But we need to get the attention and the exposure. So, please keep spreading the word about this. OscarKnox.blogspot.com. Visit there. You can see there's several different methods where you can donate. They have the wristbands going out. There was a picture of Patty McCourt, Niall McGinn, and Agent Jerry on Twitter at Falcha, the Niall McGinn's restaurant in Belfast. So shameless plug for them. But they were standing outside with the Wee Oscar wristbands. You can get one yourself, and hopefully the Parrot can sort us out with a couple of our own. So I think that was good. Rev.
Yeah, I consider that a success.
Even though
we look like fools, but that was the point.
Exactly. It was pretty crap radio, and it's going to be an awful podcast to listen back to, but it's all for a good cause. So thanks again to everyone. Playing us out, as always, is Shane McGowan and the Pogues, and we'll be back next week after the St. Johnson game. So for the Rev and everyone else, I'm Graham Wilson. Hail, hail, and keep the faith. We'll talk to you soon.
The island, it is silent now, but the ghosts still haunt the waves. And a torch lights up a famished man who fortune could not save. Did you work upon the railroads? Did you ride the streets of crime? Were your dollars from the White House? Were they from the 5 and dime? Did the old songs start to cheer you? And did they still make you cry? Did you count the months and years? Or did your teardrops quickly dry? I know 15 was not to be on a copping ship. I came here and I never even got so far that they could change my name. Thousands are sailing across the western ocean to a land of opportunity that some of them will never see. Fortune prevailing across the western ocean, their bellies full, their spirits free. They'll break the chains of poverty and they'll dance. In Manhattan's desert twilight, in the dead of afternoon, we stepped hand in hand on Broadway, like the first man on the moon. And a blackbird broke the silence as you whistled, it's so sweet. And in Brendan Behan's footsteps, I danced up and down the street. And we said goodnight to Broadway, giving it our best regards. Took our hats to Mr. Cohen, dear old Times Square's favourite bird. Then we raised a glass to JFK and a dozen more besides. When I got back to